Not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Yeah, you have to have a mental toughness to play at NC State. Coach Moore, very passionate. I said it all season. He's a tough coach to play for, but it's only because he cares and he recruits good people, and I feel like that's why he gave me a second chance to come in since I came from South Carolina. He recruits good people, only wants good people with him and to succeed, and he creates great players, and I'm just blessed that I had the opportunity to play for him. To girls that are looking for a program or have already committed to NC State, just stay the course, stay in the moment. If he's hard on you, it's just because he knows that you're capable and he just has high standards. So just keep going and maybe you'll end up where I'm sitting. That's the hope.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Hi, everyone. I'm Adam. That's Victoria.
Hi, everyone. It's Tuesday. I say that to remind myself what day it is.
Do you? You know what else day it is? What else day? That's not even close to proper English. It is
Tax Day.
The Ides of April. Mm-hmm. Yes. It is also Jackie Robinson Day.
Yes.
In Major League Baseball. I have a thought on that before we start, but yes, it is the day where everything you need to do needs to be postmarked by tonight. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't think you get to the end of the week. I really don't know. I mean, because our taxes are complicated because it involves my wife's business.
Oh, yeah.
So we have somebody prepare them, and they do all of it. So I have no idea where we are.
That's the best route to go.
Yeah, in some ways, yes.
When you have your own business, things can get a little tricky.
It shouldn't be that tricky.
I know. Yeah.
It shouldn't be that tricky.
It shouldn't be.
So, but it is, and math is hard.
Yeah.
So there's that. But anyway, yes, pay your keep the federal government working.
Yes. Yeah.
I got nothing for that. Yeah. I'm going to stop right there. Although, does anybody still work at the IRS? Didn't they fire everybody?
Maybe.
They fired everybody. So I'm not even sure we probably shouldn't even have to pay taxes. Right? Because, I mean, who's going to collect them?
I know.
Just go into some office.
There's nobody there.
Everything's piling up. Nobody's there to open the mail. All right, real quick about Major League Baseball. And it is Jackie Robinson Day. And I'm not going to delve into the demographics of the game, which have drastically changed in the last 50 years. Mostly because in the United States, baseball participation the demographics have drastically changed. The game is still great. It is still an awesome, awesome game. Hey, look, it's not for everybody. It's going to sound funny. We actually had a guest on Friday. You know him, Alec Campbell.
I do know Alec.
He was part of the roundtable on Friday.
Nice.
Because we only talked Masters on Friday.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Alec,
it's a good one to have.
And Will Brinson came on, and we only talked Masters.
Oh, wow.
It was awesome.
Did you guys open with Steely Dan? That feels like a prime time for Steely Dan.
No, actually, I don't know what we bumped with. But I told everybody that I do the show for what I want to talk about, what I want to listen to, and I just hope that we'll entertain you enough to keep you interested. Anyway, Alec says that football is the 7th best sport.
Oh.
Yeah.
Football.
Right.
Really?
There are people. My son has no interest in the National Football League or the sport of football at all.
Sure.
Right. There are people who don't love that sport.
Mm-hmm.
So not every sport is for everyone. There are people who don't like hockey. There are people who don't like basketball.
Yeah.
Right? My wife she don't care about basketball.
Yeah. I
Right?
could see that.
Like, she likes football more than she likes basketball.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm just illustrating the point.
To each their own.
Baseball is a great sport. I do believe that if we had a Major League Baseball team here, and I know there are people efforting to try to get a franchise to come to Central North Carolina.
Yeah.
If we had a Major League Baseball team here, we'd all be into it.
Oh, big time.
Promise. Talk to the people in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They are fired up about the Braves. In New York, I know people think that, New York's a football town. Nah, man. New York is a baseball town. New York is a baseball, and probably, as long as the Knicks are good, a Knicks town.
Yeah.
Right? That's what New York City is about.
There are multiple football teams have not
Right,
been cheering.
exactly. And I
them
would
up.
argue that in most Northeast cities, baseball reigns supreme.
Hockey's also big.
Yeah, nationally, we have a national obsession, by and large, with the NFL.
Yeah.
Which is why ESPN, when the NFL season ends, they don't stop talking about the NFL.
They keep talking about
like
it.
in a random day in the middle of February, who are the best 5 technique defensive linemen in the NFL, and somebody comes out with a list of 15, and they talk about this, and my eyes glaze over.
Yep.
But it is that's what we talk about. So let me work this back to baseball and Jackie Robinson Day. He is arguably the most significant figure in baseball history, and I would fold that into sports history. Integration of baseball pioneered integration of all other sports. Some sports were slower to get there. Golf. I mean, whatever. Typical, I think. So, how is it possible that Major League Baseball has, if I have this correct, 0 day games today?
What?
On Jackie Robinson Day. None.
What?
Everything starts at either 6:40, which seems random to me. Maybe that's a trend, growing trend.
It is a big trend.
Everything starts at 6:40 or later.
It's weird.
Come on.
What are we doing?
On Jackie Robinson Day, can we have a 1 o'clock and a 4 o'clock game in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Day baseball.
Come on. Plus, day baseball is the best thing that we have going for us as a country.
Yes.
Right. No tariffs on that.
No, not yet.
No tariff. Okay. Well, with that said, we should go. I mean, is it too much to ask? Day baseball?
No.
Mets won in Minnesota again last night.
Oh, yeah.
They're 11-5.
Cubs lost. That wasn't good.
They scored a bunch of runs, though, didn't they?
They did.
They always
but
score a bunch of
not
runs.
enough.
They have 120 runs scored. They've scored almost twice as many runs as the Mets have. Seriously.
Oh, yeah. Well, they spent a lot on the Dodgers this past weekend.
Oh,
Not
well.
enough.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
All right, so to the NFL. Draft is coming up. We're Bryce Young days away from the draft.
Yeah.
Right? So he did. That is a true statement. Darin Gantt will join us at the bottom of the hour from Panthers.com because Dan Morgan met the media today. We'll get his take on what Dan Morgan had to say and where the team might go with regards to the draft. But Dan Morgan's had a couple of things to say. One, open to trading back to acquire more picks. Carolina picks 8, 57, and 74. That 57th pick is back third of the second round. So you'd like to pick earlier than that. If you can trade back for a team with a first and an earlier second, I can definitely see them doing that. Or maybe add another third round pick depending if how far back you trade. I would point this out. The New Orleans Saints, they're going to have to draft a quarterback with Derek Carr's shoulder injury being a significant one. So they were already connected to Shedeur Sanders, and he may not be there at number 9. Now they really have to pick at number 9. They really have to pick a quarterback if they believe that he or Jackson Dart is worth taking at number 9. So, if there are other teams who are interested in Shedeur Sanders or a quarterback, could somebody be interested in trading up to the Panthers at 8? Think about that. All right. This was a surprise for me, but I am glad to hear it. He was asked about the fifth-year option on left tackle Ike Ekwonu, and they basically said we're going to take a wait-and-see approach with that. So your franchise left tackle, who you took, this is year 4 for him. You took in year 4, 3 years ago in the draft, and has had spotty, better last year, but spotty success. You're not all in on just yet. And in my brain, I'm thinking, is there a left tackle in this draft that you like to the point where you would take him if he was there at number 8? And at some point, Taylor Moton's done. And think that Ike Ekwonu is more suited to being a right tackle because that's more emphasis on the run. You don't have to protect the blind side, which he ain't good at. Or maybe you just let him go after this year. All of those things, I just like the fact that those things are possible for the Panthers. He also said he likes the wide receiver room, talked about the development of young guys, Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette, and also the veterans, Thielen and Moore, all of that. But he did say that they would invest more at that position during the draft. All right. Now to a couple of clips from Dan Morgan. He was asked if he has a better feel for where this team is currently.
Yeah, I think, the way we ended the season, obviously a lot of positive momentum going into the next year. And, I think everybody's excited in the building. I think the fans are excited. So it really draws a lot of excitement for us to go and continue to add, really good players to our roster, and so it can make us one of the more competitive teams in the NFL. So it's just another step to where we want to go.
All right, what about what the team did in free agency, which I guess people are asking him, did he think he did a good job?
Yeah, I feel really good about what we did in free agency, just adding to our front and, adding a safety like Morig. We added some good players that we're really excited about, and we're headed in a good direction.
I think we all agree that they did a good job in free agency, right? And I think the second straight year that we like what the Panthers did in free agency without necessarily, blowing you out of the water with, oh my gosh, look at the great player. Like they filled needs with good players who are not old players too. Like I think the Panthers did a very good job. Obviously, it's a roster that needed a lot of work everywhere. It's funny. One of the first drafts in the Matt Rule era was that entire draft was on defense. And a couple of years ago, the Panthers had one of the best defenses in the league, and their defense was trash. It just shows you that, and I always thought that their great defense was a little bit of house of cards because it was so easy to run on them. Injuries and whatnot have certainly not helped. But I think they did a very good job addressing a bunch of things on the defensive side of the ball, and most people still think they're going to draft on that side of the ball, including there are a couple of Georgia edge rushers that they have been linked with. So Dan Morgan was asked about the school from where players come, if that matters.
I mean, I think it makes it a little easier, the level of competition that, certain teams play against. Obviously, a school like Georgia, they're playing against top competition in the SEC. So I think from an evaluation standpoint, it does make it a little easier.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, and if you look, by the way, at the first round of the draft, the overwhelming majority of players are from two schools, or two leagues. It's the SEC and the Big Ten. That's the overwhelming number of players are coming from those leagues. That doesn't mean that other leagues do not produce really good players. By the way, East Carolina, they have a defensive back who will be probably a second rounder. But if you're, early to mid second round, somebody could fall in love with you at the back end of the first round. So, and I think a lot of people think that after you get past like 8 or 9 in this draft, it becomes a deep draft, but not necessarily a star-driven draft. All right, speaking of drafts, Paige Bueckers, first overall to the Dallas Wings. The WNBA draft was last night. And how about a shout-out for NC State? First time in program history they've had 2 players taken in the first round. Sanaya Rivers went to the Sun at number 8. Isaiah James with the last pick in round 1, also to Dallas, by the way. The Washington Mystics had 3 of the first 6 picks, by the way. Here's Rivers on playing at State and preparing her for what's next.
Yeah, you have to have a mental toughness to play at NC State. Coach Moore, very passionate. I said it all season. He's a tough coach to play for, but it's only because he cares and he recruits good people. And I feel like that's why he gave me a second chance to come in since I came from South Carolina. He recruits good people, only wants good people with him and to succeed. And he creates great players. And I'm just blessed that I had the opportunity to play for him. He's part of the reason that I'm here. So to girls that are looking for a program or have already committed to NC State, just stay the course, stay in the moment. If he's hard on you, it's just because he knows that you're capable and he just has high standards. So just keep going and maybe you'll end up where I'm sitting. That's the hope.
All right. Well, go Pack. Good for them. Look, they had a great year. I mean, it didn't end where they wanted it to end, but they had a great year. All right, real quick, because we have not, I don't think she would have been eligible for the draft anyway, but we're not going to see Juju Watkins at USC next year because of when she suffered the torn ACL. USC head coach Lindsey Gottlieb on her recovery.
I think that first week was shock and sadness, but now she's in full-on go mode. That now she's going to attack what's in front of her, which is a recovery, a rehab, a coming back stronger. So I think she's already really in that mindset.
Man, what a loss that's going to be next year. Paige Bueckers went through it too. She missed an entire year of her college career. Now she got it back on the other round. I believe she was a 5-year player. But so we're going to see Juju Watkins play again. Maybe. I think she's eligible to be drafted after this upcoming season. So who knows if Juju Watkins. But remember how much the women build their brands and the money. Like, real quick, Paige Bueckers signed a 3-year contract with that league, Unrivaled. I think it's a 3-on-3 league that the players themselves put together in the offseason. And this is to prevent the players from having to go overseas to play and enhance their income.
Right.
That's why Brittany Griner, that's not why she was arrested trying to get back into Russia. But she was going to Russia to play so she could make more money at basketball. Anyway, to prevent women having to go overseas to triple their salaries, they developed this Unrivaled basketball league. Bueckers signed a 3-year contract. She will make more money in 1 year at Unrivaled than she would make, I think, in 3 years in her WNBA salary.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Look, the WNBA is still a developmental league. It's still, meaning not the players, but the league itself. It's probably undervalued. There will be more money down the road for these women, but it won't be what the NBA has established. The NBA is, I don't know how many billions of dollars. And if you're on an NBA roster and you're a veteran, you're making significantly more than $1 million. And I don't believe any of the women make that. Anyway, good for the league. The league is definitely a developing league. All right, I have some college football things to get to real quick, and then I want to talk here about the Canes. Apparently, we're going to talk about this later. Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan, is getting the Carolina Blue Internet in a lather. So they're upset that she has a pretty big influence on marketing in marketing areas for UNC football, specifically when it comes to media and Bill. I mean, for the sake of argument, I mean, he is her boyfriend. Okay? Now, I just wonder how many people would give a damn if she wasn't his girlfriend, but simply a hired social media rep.
Right.
I wonder how many people would care.
Yeah.
And my guess is 0.
None. Yeah.
But girlfriend, young, Bill not.
Yeah. Way younger.
Some strange things we've seen. That photo with him on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
Lifting her up
the
with his
yoga
feet.
thing.
Yeah, it was weird. Right? Totally weird. Okay, fine. She's got, I mean, she dresses like any 24-year-old girl might. So,
oh, yeah, I saw she was aerating the football field with her high heels.
Yeah, she was. Well, that was like that she was putting stuff in his pocket. It was clearly a mic.
Right.
They were doing some stuff on video, right? So I actually dug the jacket. Did you see the jacket?
I did. It was sharp.
Awesome. Like sell those in the team store, in the school bookstore.
People would buy it.
Oh my!
Too.
You wouldn't be able to keep them.
No.
So people are bent out of shape because she is advising him, and in some ways usurping him for media deals. Like she put the kibosh on Hard Knocks. And we know all of this because she was CC'd on all media requests to Bill. Anything like that has to go through her too. And so the public records request revealed a lot of these things. It's not all awesome, but it really wouldn't be a big deal at all if she wasn't his girlfriend. If she was, she's not hired. She's not an employee of UNC. But this is, I think, much ado about nothing. We'll talk to Al Hood about this from Tar Heel Blog in just a little bit. All right, I want to really get to the. Okay, we'll do Nico Iamaleava. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Later on, I do want to talk about this because people are. This has polarized a lot of people. It's everything that's bad about college football, but we'll get to that. Canes practice today. I got a couple of minutes for this. Last practice before the team flies to Montreal for a game tomorrow, and then Ottawa for the game on Thursday. Then their regular season is over. I don't know what their lineup is going to look like tomorrow or Thursday. I have not been asked, but for me, Jacob Slavin, Sebastian Aho, and Seth Jarvis would not be in either game. No way I am putting either of those two forwards or Jacob Slavin on the ice for either of those two games. And Frederick Anderson, for me, would not be playing on Thursday. We should have seen his last game Sunday against Toronto. Not going to risk anything with Anderson in the final game Thursday when the playoffs start either Sunday or Monday. I still think that it's more likely on Monday because 2 series are going to be held over to start then. And Carolina, I think Carolina, New Jersey makes a fair amount of sense to hold it over until Monday. But it could easily start Thursday. The Devils end their season tomorrow. Carolina ends their season on Thursday. It's an absolute lead pipe cinch that Colorado-Dallas will be the first playoff game. I mean, that is going to be, I don't know what.
So fun.
Oh, my gosh. Those are 2 of the 3 best teams, and maybe not. Yeah, no. I think they might be the 2 best teams in the league, to be perfectly honest.
Maybe.
And they're playing in the first round. Absolutely insane.
Oh, and there's that drama too. Not really drama, but
Dallas will have home ice. There's not a lot, by the way, there's not a lot to be settled in terms of we have two teams there's only two teams that have not clinched spots already, and they are, a razor's edge from clinching. And there's only one other spot up for grabs in terms of seeding. We know everything, except the two of the wild cards in the one in the West, one in the East, and who's going to finish first in the Central, rather in the Atlantic Division. And Toronto's magic number is 1 for that. So we pretty much know everything except two teams, and we're going to probably find that out either tonight or tomorrow. Anyway, so that's what I would do with the roster. I would not have Aho Jarvis or Slavin play. But I also don't know what kind of salary cap situation the Hurricanes are in. I don't think they've got a lot of room at all. So you might only be able to bring up a player, right? They might have a little bit more room because the trade of Rantanen freed up room because they didn't bring back a lot. Stankoven makes the league minimum. So, and Jankowski is an $800,000 player. So they might have a few $1 million under the cap, which means they could bring up maybe 3 players from Chicago to play. The more the merrier. If you could ice the entire Wolves lineup, I'd do that. By the way, I think Chicago, they might end their season either last night or tonight. Anyway, I would do that. 100%. I just don't want anybody. They don't have a deep enough roster. They have a lot of good forwards, but they don't. There are a number of players that they can't afford to be without. Aho, Jarvis. Honestly, you put Blake in that situation. Stahl, you can't afford to be without him. Taylor Hall right now is too important. And on the back end, Slavin's at the front of the line. But you can basically, check the box of anybody, really, at this point. But that's coming up tomorrow and Thursday, and we'll talk more about the Canes. E.J. Hradek's going to join us in the second hour, or rather the third hour. So we'll get to that. Darin Gantt's going to join us when we come back. Panthers.com. Dan Morgan met the media. We'll talk to Darin about that next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Let's go! The Canes are headed to the playoffs.
Aho now to Jarvis. Jarvis, you'll get the Giants scores!
Let's go, Canes!
Let's go, Canes! Playoff hockey in Raleigh is something that you can't describe, and it's because of you. So we want to be here.
The Canes' road to the Stanley Cup runs through us. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller. Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. He invented the no closing cost mortgage. In 1987, it's a great idea because what it does is it allows you the freedom to always be able to refinance free of charge when the rates come down. Now, you could also refinance when the rates come down if you go to another mortgage lender. But if you're paying closing costs, you're wasting money if you refinance within about a 7-year window. If you pay closing costs, you are saying, I will never want to refinance in this 7-year window. It's actually almost 8 years. That's the break-even point. To save $50 a month, why would you ever do that? Rates have dropped. They've gone up. They've dropped again. They will drop more. Miller Lending. Don't ever pay closing costs. It's your worst deal. No closing costs. You keep your own money. That's your best one. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 250-2146.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 to 3.8 to 9.88. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Are you suffering from chronic joint pain or just struggling with daily activities because of discomfort in your knees, back, or other parts of your body? Well, I've got great news. It's called DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, a solution that can help you get back to feeling like yourself again without the risks of invasive surgery or long-term prescription drug use. DaVita Med Spa and Wellness is a regenerative medicine clinic. Their innovative treatment options address the root cause of your pain to promote healing and prevent re-injury for long-lasting pain relief. If you have arthritis, joint pain, sports injuries, or other conditions, their highly trained medical providers will develop a cutting-edge treatment plan tailored just for you with little to no downtime. DaVita Med Spa and Wellness can get you back to doing the things you love. Call DaVita Med Spa and Wellness today, spelled DVIDA. Call 984-333-1313, 984-333-1313, 984-333-1313.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
With Progressive's collision coverage, my family gets up to $1,000 for vet bills if I'm injured in a car accident. And that makes this Chihuahua really feel like part of the family. What's that? I don't sound like a Chihuahua? Oh, I'm sorry. What exactly am I supposed to sound like? I guess all Chihuahuas are high-strung, riding around in expensive designer purses. Actually, I prefer riding in cars. So I appreciate that my family protects me with Progressive's pet collision coverage. Okay, maybe I am a little high-strung. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Coverage for dogs and cats is included with the purchase of collision coverage and is subject to policy terms.
This is Adam Gold.
Thank you very much for your time, man. We will talk again.
Adam, anytime for you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Why does that make me laugh?
I don't know. Maybe you just are used to people being mean to you or something, like Twitter. I don't know.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Dan Morgan, general manager of your Carolina Panthers, met the media today. Said a lot. He played the hits, according to my friend Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. He didn't sing My Way by Sinatra, though, did he?
No, he did not. I got to tell you, Dan Morgan's old coach, John Fox, would have been proud of that exhibition because he stood there for 20 minutes and didn't say a thing. And that's really hard to do. Dan Morgan is a plain-spoken person. So Dan, I've always said throughout this offseason, when Dan tells you something, you'd probably be wise to believe it. And so standing around and BSing and prevaricating and stalling isn't really his bag, but he hit him straight today. He was all over it.
So I do think he said something, so I'll lead with that. At least he said something that raised my antennas.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to hearing this because I got to write off that press conference in a little bit, and frankly, I'll take any suggestions you've got.
Okay. Now I didn't hear the tone and we didn't hear the clip, but when he was asked about a fifth-year option for Ike Ekwonu, and he basically said, yeah, we're basically taking a wait and see on that. To me, I'm wondering, are they 100% sold on him as the franchise left tackle of the future?
Oh, I think so. And it goes back to a couple of things. I mean, the other thing, you got to go back to the combine when Dan was asked about Icky, and he's like, yeah, we want to extend him. They want to keep Icky around here. And I asked Canales specifically about that at the owners meeting a couple of weeks ago. And he was like, we think we got our left tackle. We think, Icky is that guy for the next little bit. I mean, the thing about Icky is he's still, 25 years old. He came here very young, and it's still that's part of the reason I think this project appeals to Dave Canales and Dan Morgan so much is so many of the key people are still 25 and under. And I think him being one of those guys, I mean, and maybe he's 26. I I don't remember when his birthday is. I'm negligent about sending cards for stuff like that. But the fact is, still very young in this game and still getting better at it. So I think they're comfortable with Ickey going on. And, I tend to look at this draft as, not getting too hung up on immediate needs and what they've got to have for 2025. Because this thing is all about who's going to be on this team when it's good and contending for the playoffs. And that may not even be this year. That may be next year. And it's not that they're, trying to not win. I mean, obviously they want to be competitive, but I think there's a vision of this thing. If you look at the way they've shopped through the offseason, who they've drafted last year and this year, they're thinking 2 years, 3 years down the line with this deal.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, at Darin Gantt, 2 T's on Twitter. He also talked about, he said a bunch of things, but he's also said that he's willing to trade back. How much more does that become a possibility now that everybody knows that the Saints are likely going to be at least considering a quarterback at number 9? Right.
Here's one thing I promise you I will not do. I will never pretend to assume that I know what the Saints are about to do. That's like being John Malkovich. I'm not sure I want to walk around inside that head for too long because they do things sometimes it's like, oh, well, that was a choice. But, I think there's an assumption. There's some natural dot connecting going on. Oh, you don't have a quarterback? You might be interested in acquiring one. I mean, honestly, if the Saints went out and drafted somebody else or Jackson Dart or, whatever it happens to be, that wouldn't surprise me either because nothing the Saints do surprises me. They have been unconventional at times in the past, and that includes the decision to signed Derek Carr to a bunch of money a couple of years ago. So the Carolina Panthers were in that market too. I mean, Frank Reich was thinking seriously about rather than committing resources to the number 1 pick, just signing Derek Carr as a free agent and rolling with that. So that would have been an extension of the Teddy Sam Baker project where you take the veteran of the year and just see what you can do with that. They wanted to go in a different direction. They did, and I think it'd be hard to argue that they're not better off for it right now.
Oh, no, there's no question. It looks to me that the Bryce Young gamble, because it was a gamble when you trade up from 9 to 1, it looks to me like the gamble is paid off. I don't really want to go back and litigate why I still think they shouldn't have done it, but I do think the gamble is paid off. Look, I know it's, we really haven't gotten into any offseason programs, but has Bryce been seen around the facility? Talk to me a little bit about where the team is with the offense and Bryce. And I know he said specifically today he likes his receiver room.
Yeah, and I would refer you back to Panthers.com for all the latest from Dave Canales from the owners' meetings a couple weeks ago, where we talked about that at length, Adam. No, they do, and that's another one of those areas where the young kids are a big part of this thing. I think getting Adam Thielen to come back for another year was big because it allows Xavier Leggett, Jalen Coker to continue to learn and develop. I mean, I anticipate, I don't know that I necessarily think it's going to be at 8, but I anticipate coming out of next weekend with a new wide receiver to talk to.
Yep.
Somewhere in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round probably, makes sense to add another young body to a young room. So I think they're going to continue to go that direction. This is still, Dave said down in Florida the other week, this is still a running team. This is still about the offensive line, about Chuba Hubbard, about Rico Dowdle, and all that allows Bryce to be able to do off of that. So look at where their resources are. No team in the NFL's got more money sunk in offensive linemen than the Carolina Panthers, and I think that's on purpose. There was a problem to fix last year, and they fixed it. That cost money, and they don't care. But you've got a first-round pick and a couple of second-round picks and 2 high-end free agents filling out that line at the moment. So that's the way they want it to look.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. they obviously did very well without necessarily huge splashes for star players, but they did well in free agency to address some areas of need. When you look at the depth chart right now, what is an area that you think is important for them to address coming up Bryce Young days from now?
Well, I think there's a couple of, or also Ryan Santoso days from now. If you wanna,
I don't remember that guy, so he does look like somebody that it would be fun to maybe share a corner stool with.
Yeah, we're also Matt Lytle days away from the draft, and also Rodney Peete days away from the draft.
That would be better.
And Graham Gano and Stephon Gilmore. No, I think, again, source, my two eyes, this team's still short on defensive playmakers. They need corners, they need safeties, they need outside linebackers. There's only 3 safeties on the roster, and you generally go to training camp with 8 of them. So I would anticipate they're going to add safeties over the next couple of weeks. They got to add pass rushers. And to me, that's – people talk about the strength of this draft, being in pass rushers, being in – defensive front 7 guys. Well, congratulations. That's where the biggest needs are here. It wouldn't, if they took 2 of those guys, if they took one in the first round, one in the third, or one in the first, one in the second, and went Gettleman on it, that wouldn't surprise me, because if you've got premium picks, pass rushers are one of those things that when you got an opportunity to get one, you should. So I think that's still the big one. I mean, safety is an area that you can address later on. That's not a position that demands a top 10 pick. If you've got a top 10 pick and they're pass rushers, it makes a lot of sense to me to take them.
I agree. Where are you on potentially adding a tight end?
Fine. I mean, they did bring back Tommy Tremble, who, I don't think it's a priority. I mean, I know, and I wrote a quick post on the website this morning about Tyler Warren, and everybody loves that he's super productive and got that John Riggins mentality that he ascribed to his father buying him a jersey when he was a kid. I mean, I just think that that's not – you can find people to contribute for what they need at tight end. I just go back to Dave Canales' offenses over the years have usually had one guy catching 30 or 40 balls and then 4 guys catching 2 to 7 each. I mean, that's just usually the way it's been built. Now they got J.T. Sanders. They got Tommy Tremble coming back. And Tommy really, over the last 6 games, the strides he made are probably as significant as the ones Bryce made. The one we'll always remember is the turnaround no-look pass in Atlanta when Bryce is throwing up the touchdown sign. But, Tommy really played better over the second half. I mean, it's a need. Could they use one of those guys for 26, 27, 28? Yeah, maybe, sure. But it's not as much of a priority as finding people to chase quarterbacks and put them on their back.
Darin Gantt, Panthers.com, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So you spent time with Dave Canales. You certainly wrote enough about what Dave had to say about the offense. How did Dave grow during the course of the season?
I think a lot of it is natural. I mean, most coaches will tell you you learn about all the things that aren't football. That when somebody's mom gets sick and goes in the hospital and they want to miss practice, or family member dies, or somebody has a baby, those unexpected hurdles that complicate your well-scripted football plan, learning how to deal with that kind of stuff and the human beings involved with them is as significant as learning X's and O's. I mean, he is very, Canales will tell you up front, he is stealing all this from Pete Carroll. He is running the same plays Pete ran for years. He's got the same kind of energy, that same kind of attitude about this thing every day. And I think really learning how to manage the people that are associated with all this stuff is a big component of what he's doing. And you could see him growing into it. I mean, when you haven't done a thing before, if you're too confident, you're probably faking it. Right. And there was a lot of stuff Dave Canales was experiencing for the first time last year, whether it was when to throw the challenge flag or not, or how do I handle, changing a schedule when players complain about this thing or that thing, how far to go in accommodating guys. So I think he did a good job of seeing some of that stuff for the first time so that he can then develop a plan for it. Maybe it's the old Eagle Scout in me, but the preparation, the planning is still one of my cheat codes. If you start talking about that, I'm inclined to like you and what you're doing. And he's super into it. I mean, it's just having a plan for all this stuff every day that he wants to do and really developing guys. I was talking to him earlier this offseason about Xavier Liggett, and he talked about specific things he wanted XL to do this year, and then the specific things he wanted him to do next year in year 3. And, I mean, he's thinking about this thing multiple years down the line. So I think getting that experience and seeing what it's like for the first time allows him to put some of those abstract concepts that are in his head into concrete practice.
I'm going to ask you one more thing. We only have about a minute left, but I will say this about Dave Canales. He doesn't get nearly the steps in that Pete Carroll did over the course of a game.
He gets a lot.
No, not like Pete Carroll. Carroll gets the full allotted number of steps in. Who fills the leadership void of Shaq Thompson?
J.C. Horn is probably the most likely candidate for that. J.C.'s already moved into Shaq's old locker.
Okay.
And that is kind of the first tangible sign of here's who we want you to be. But I would also refer you back to Panthers.com when we talked to J.C. when he signed his extension. I mean, and he talked a lot about Shaq and how much it meant. Shaq took great care with J.C. early on to put him in situations where he was uncomfortable talking to grown men because he knew this day was inevitably going to come. And he knew J.C. was going to be a part of this thing longer than he was going to be. So I think there are so many steps along the way of people deliberately putting J.C. Horn into those positions, and he's the most likely one. He's never going to be quite the talker Shaq is, but few are. But I just think J.C. and Derek are the guys. Derek Brown are the guys who will lead this thing. And they're different types of cats in the same way Pete Carroll and Dave Canales are a little bit different personality-wise, but they're still running the same place, still doing the same stuff. By the way, the most adorable thing about Pete Carroll talking about Dave at the owners' meetings the other week, he calls him David.
David.
And I find that endearing. I just love that. I mean, when you care about somebody and you'll talk about him that way, I love that.
Darin Gantt. I assume Darin is your full given name, right?
Yeah, it's not short for anything. I wish I had something clever to say here, but I don't. I'm fresh out.
Nor do I. Darin Gantt, at Darin Gantt on Twitter, 2 T's for excess talent. Sir, I appreciate your time always. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Love it. See y'all.
You got it. We are tomorrow. We're what? J.C. Horn days away from the draft, correct?
Yeah.
Is that it? He's number 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We have one-timers real quick promoting this coming up in the middle of the next hour. We will do a mailbag segment. So if you've got questions shouting to you on YouTube, have them ready.
Yeah.
They don't have to be about hurricanes. It can be about anything.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is.
Golf.
Rory McIlroy questions, go right to the top of the line.
Yeah.
Right to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to ask me questions about baseball or, I don't know, sewing.
Yeah, your favorite pizza topping.
Anything. Fair game. That comes your way at 1:30. One-timers next.
From the heels
Touchdown, Carolina.
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round.
good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help in Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
70 years ago, PBS North Carolina began its journey, and you, North Carolina, have been with us every step of the way. From the adventures of Mr. Rogers to the mysteries of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, you've inspired us to keep going. Thanks to you, we've been able to expand beyond TV, touching lives in classrooms and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Every day, people battling addiction suffer in silence. Because of stigma, they fear judgment. They fear being labeled, and too often, they don't get the help they need. But you can help change that. Join the Governor's Institute and be a superhero in the Overdose Battle Campaign. Learn how to break the stigma, support those in need, and save lives. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero to get involved. Be a hero, fight stigma, save a life.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Are you living your best life? Do you know AARP North Carolina is working to make communities great for all ages? Help workers find easier ways to save, improve healthcare quality and access, and to protect important programs like Social Security and Medicare. Learn more about all that AARP is doing to help people of all ages by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry. I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/Adam Gold Show or /999 The Fan. You decide. Either one gets you there. Live, you can always find stuff later on today. If you missed it, I am Adam Gold. That is Victoria. And it is time for one-timers. All right, let's go.
All right, well, kicking things off, because I had this one yesterday, but we ran out of time, so I'm going to start it today. As many people know, I had to watch sporting events at a wedding on my phone. Yep, I was that person. So, which sporting event would you sneak watch at a wedding if you could or had to?
What happened Sunday? I had hockey games Saturday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I had to watch Saturday's third round when I got home at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I breezed through it, and I'm still watching the final round thanks to CBS Sports Network for playing that basically on a loop since it was over. I watched the last few holes last night. So, yes, a major golf tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I will watch that. It's hard to watch anything else, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I don't like watching sports on my phone.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it happened. So this one is from earlier today on our YouTube stream from The Mitch. Adam, what are your NHL wild card predictions?
Wild card prediction? I don't understand. Like who's going to make it as a wild card?
I'm assuming.
I mean, there's Montreal and Minnesota and St. Louis will be the two wild cards in the West. Minnesota hasn't even clinched a spot yet, but it's imminent. Same with St. Louis. And St. Louis could end up being wild card 1 and Minnesota wild card 2. Calgary's still viable, although it's a long shot. And Columbus is still viable, although it is a long shot. They play they play Philadelphia, I think, tonight. They got to win.
Okay, this one is from Canadian Martin. Canes are 8-16-4 on the road. After their good 7-1 start, can they win one playoff game on the road?
Yeah, I know we spend a lot of time talking about that. I'm not worried about home and road. I'm just not. I mean, you're not supposed to have a better record on the road than you are at home. It's supposed to be hard to win on the road. Hurricanes were the best home team in the NHL this year. That isn't just because they were at home. They're good. They just haven't played as well, but I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah, well, and last but not least, we just got one in from Silky GK, one-timer. Who's the biggest threat to the Canes in the playoffs?
The Devils. The first team is the biggest threat to the Devils in the playoff, to the Hurricanes in the playoffs. I know that sounds cliche, man, but the first team.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Interest rates have plummeted. It's time to call Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. If you're looking to get cash out of your home equity, refinance out of a high rate, or do a home improvement project, Loan Pronto can make it happen in a matter of days. Take advantage of this opportunity and get tens or even hundreds of thousands out of your home equity. Pay off all your credit cards. Pay off your car loans. The average homeowner cuts their monthly bills by $1,000. Get more info at loanpronto.com. Inflation and higher costs have put a lot of people in a stressful financial situation. But if you own a home, there's a way out. Loan Pronto has multiple options that can help you get the financial freedom you deserve. Most homeowners get their cash in less than 2 weeks, and most don't even need an appraisal. Do the smart thing. Stop paying insane rates on those credit cards. Wipe them all out. Get a lower mortgage rate. Get some money for that home improvement project. It all starts by getting in contact with the experts at this, Loan Pronto. LoanPronto.com or call 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
We all want more for North Carolina. More boundless views, more adventures in the outdoors, and more clean roads to get there. But to get more, we have to do less. Less littering, that is. Make it your nature to trash your trash and keep NC clean. And we'll all have more reasons to love North Carolina. Litter less, get more. For more on the 7 outdoor NC Leave No Trace principles, visit OutdoorNC.com. Sponsored by the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters and Visit North Carolina, a part of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina in cooperation with this station.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharky's. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime, and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Raleigh Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
I'm Dr. Miller, a dentist and a volunteer for Dental Lifeline Network. DLN asks dentists to volunteer to see just one patient per year who might not have access to proper oral health care. Join me in making a difference.
Go to willyouseeone.org to learn more.
Struggling to get the sleep treatment you need? I'm Megan Giggling, General Manager of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. You shouldn't have to wait for better sleep. Our streamlined process provides for sleep studies, CPAP machines, and supplies, without the long delays you'll find at other sleep centers. At Parkway Sleep, we'll help you get good rest faster and with the care you deserve.
With over 20 years of experience, join countless satisfied customers who have discovered the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit us today at parkwaysleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
Get in the hole!
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Being in the back nine on Sunday at the Masters, like to be able to hit, to be able to play that way. But obviously there are the moments there that you look back on and you go, okay, made the wrong mistake there and the wrong mistake there at the wrong time. Tough to dwell on that because 10 birdies on this golf course today is, it was unbelievable golf.
I would say it was 14 years in the making from, going out with the 4-shot lead in 2011, feeling like I could have got it done there. And yeah, there was a lot of pent-up emotion that just came out on that 18th green. And but a moment like that makes all the years and all the close calls worth it.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. First was Justin Rose. Then, of course, Rory McIlroy. He won his Masters yesterday, completes the career Grand Slam. One of just 6 golfers all time to do it. You were not here on Friday for my conversation with author Michael Arkush, who wrote a book ranking the top 100 golfers of all time. And for the record, he got number 1 wrong. He chose Jack Nicklaus, and the correct answer is Tiger Woods. But that's fine. He did call it a spirited ranking, which meant that he was ready to argue, and that was fine. So was I. We had a good time. It was all in good fun. He had Rory McIlroy ranked somewhere in the 30s. And I have half a mind to text him and have him come back on to see if becoming one of 6 golfers ever to win the career Grand Slam elevates Rory, and it should. I had Rory inside my top 20. He is the best European golfer ever. He doesn't have more majors than Nick Faldo. Faldo's got 3 Masters and 3 Open Championships. But honestly, by this point, Rory should have had more majors than him. Either way, but he is the most accomplished, decorated European golfer of all time. He's better than Faldo. He's better than Seve. He's, for those people who don't know who I just mentioned, Severiano Ballesteros, who was really the first European guy that really made the sport sexy. And it was his presence, although Faldo was also there, that convinced the PGA of America on the behest of Jack Nicklaus to include Europe in the Ryder Cup. It used to be just Great Britain and Ireland. It was just GB and I against the United States. And it was an unfair fight. And when they expanded to include Europe, it then started to become seriously competitive, if not downright nasty. And at times it was. To the point where now, even though if you look at world rankings, the United States has the lion's share of the top players in the world, we routinely get our rear ends beat in the Ryder Cup. Now, I understand home road, blah, blah, blah. It's become very difficult to win on the road. Europe's the last team to do it. The United States has not done it since 1993. We'll see if Europe can do that at Bethpage coming up this September. Could end up being one of the greatest Ryder Cups ever at Bethpage. All right, that is my my little thank you very much, Rusty, for putting that. And by the way, Justin Rose, what an unbelievable gentleman. He is now the only player ever to lose 2 Masters in a playoff. I think so. I think he's the only player ever to. Yeah, he lost to Sergio Garcia in 2017. And that one he kind of lost. In the playoff, he kind of gave that away. This one, he didn't lose this one. He was awesome. And Rory stuffed it into like 3.5, 4 feet to win it in the first playoff hole. All right, take 2. And this is stuff we haven't gotten to yet. I said I wanted to talk about it earlier and ran out of time. Tennessee and their quarterback, well, their former quarterback now, Nico Iamaleava. I'll probably never say it right. It took me a long time to say Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to figure out that.
Doesn't roll off the tongue.
It doesn't. That one does now.
Yeah.
I assume at some point, and Carolina was actually mentioned in sort of with some interest in him, and maybe they do. The transfer portal opens up, I think, tomorrow for college football. It only stays open for 10 days. Very quick. So who knows? Who knows where he ends up? But he was a holdout for Tennessee. First time we have seen this in college football. He was a contract holdout, and Tennessee went, smell you later.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you want. I am not blaming Tennessee for doing that, and I am not blaming the player for wanting more money. I did read an interesting blurb about this, that Tennessee essentially knew that when they were recruiting him, that he was going to go to whoever offered the most money. And Tennessee won that bidding. If you are Tennessee, you cannot be surprised that he was holding out for more money, because that's how you got him. It's sort of like, and this is not gender specific, it's sort of like the player, or I'm sorry, the man or woman who dates a man or woman who cheated on their spouse, and then that man or woman cheats on them. I'm like, well, it's not a surprise, right? Anyway, we move on. I want to get to the issue itself. Pete Thamel, ESPN college football insider, on the fact that Tennessee, without Nico, can't possibly be better.
And I don't think Tennessee is going to be able to go out and find someone who can come in, learn the offense, win the locker room, and then go play at the level that Nico played last year. Like, that's going to be really hard to do. Certainly not at the level of 2 years in the system. He, in theory, would have been a guy we're talking about breaking out to be one of the best players in the country this year, right? They have better skill. They didn't have great skill on the outside last year. They have better offensive line. Their offensive line was pretty putrid at times last year. And, like, everything seems set for him to have that second year playing in Josh Heupel's system to go. So, in a lot of senses, like, just for someone to walk in, learn an offense, win a locker room, and go out and just go do it on August 30th is a really, really hard thing to ask. Agreed.
Now, Ian Fitzsimmons, who hosts on ESPN Radio in the evenings, this is about Nico. He doesn't believe Nico in the transfer portal is going to be able to find more money than he was going to get at Tennessee.
I am firm on this. And I will be shocked, stunned, if he gets close to $2.2 million on this market. Where with the transfer portal window, the second one, how are you going to get more than 2.2 on the open market right now? How's it going to happen? Because you're already paying one quarterback on your roster. You might lose your room by bringing him in. And I think a lot of coaches, I talked to several since this whole story came out on Friday, why would I want to bring that guy in who left that team in a lurch onto my team and might do it to us? So there's a lot out there, and every starting quarterback on a D1 squad, FBS team, they're already getting paid. So you're going to go pay this guy more than 2.2? You're going to pay him the 4? I don't think he sniffs 2.2.
I agree with that. I said it yesterday, that whoever advised him, man, you better know that you've got something coming, because it is a toxic conversation to have. Overwhelmingly, more fans are anti what we're seeing than pro. Even though, and I understand it, because it is a complete shock to the system. And fans don't like it when their favorite NFL players hold out. But there isn't, infinite amounts of money floating around. I did hear this about the House settlement hasn't been approved yet by Judge Wilkin in San Francisco. And it may happen very soon, but it hasn't been approved yet. The longer it waits, the more schools with a lot of NIL money, now this is not from the university, talking about the collectives, are going to be shoveling tons of money at players because there's no regulation for it yet. None of the rules are in place. So this will be a very interesting case. I think he'll probably find a spot pretty quickly, but I think Ian Fitzsimmons is probably right that he's ultimately going to get less money. It does bring up a George Costanza moment from Seinfeld when they're pitching the show about nothing to the networks, and essentially George negotiates less money. Doesn't do it intentionally, but he negotiates less money, and the episode is entitled George Holds Out for Less Money.
Nice.
It's a great. So it's very possible that that's what is going to happen here. Similar thing actually happened for those Boston Red Sox fans who remember this. Jason Varitek, back in the day, represented by Scott Boras, had a contract for, let's just say, $10 million for one more year, and opted out of it and ended up going back to Boston for half the money because there was no market for him. You don't know. And this is Scott Boras, who knows the market. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Al Hood, Tar Heel blog, will join us. Why do people have their underwear in a bunch? Because Bill Belichick's girlfriend is calling some social media shots. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Let's go! It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Aho now to Jarvis. Jarvis, you'll get the Jarvis.
Let's go, Canes!
The Chetkov, stop! It's on the goal line behind him! He does a snow angel in the paint!
Go, Canes!
Playoff hockey in Raleigh is something that you can't describe, and it's because of you. So we want to be here.
The Canes' road to the Stanley Cup runs through us. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
I have a scenario for you. You and the fellas were going to play golf, but life got in the way. Yard work. Maybe the kids had a game. Adam Gold here for X Golf in Cary, and here's what you need to do. Get a bunch of couples together. If you're into golf, experience the best simulator play you've ever seen. And if you're not, just hang out, watch the game, relax with a cold adult beverage, some great food as well. Way more than golf. It's fun. McGregor Village, off of US 64. PlayXGolf.com/Cary.
Hello, Scott Forbes, head baseball coach, University of North Carolina. When it comes to choosing a dealership, I stick with Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Growing up in Sanford, I've been fortunate to be lifelong friends with Will Wilkinson. My family and I have been buying and having our vehicles serviced at Wilkinson for many, many years. Great service, competitive prices, and most importantly, a place you can trust. Go where I go. Go see my longtime friend Will Wilkinson at Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I ordered the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50. Add any size Sprite for $1.49. Price of participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hey, it's Adam Golden. I am in studio with my friend Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Quality you can afford. Another of the great mottos of the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. What do you mean by that?
Well, isn't that great?
It's great. I like that.
So
as a motto.
we have customers all the time that call us out for windows, and they don't think they can do all of them at once. And you don't have to with us for sure, but we have 18 months zero interest financing. We have all kinds of plans actually. So whatever your budget is, if you're putting off windows because you don't think you can do it now, call us out and let us at least price it for you and give you some options of how we can make it easier.
I like making it easier. What if they don't want to do the whole job right away?
No problem. We can do the front of the house. We can start on the front, the sides, whatever you need. I mean, the deal is we come out and we're here to help you figure out a project that works for you and maybe take care of the worst things first.
What about down payments?
Zero.
What do you mean zero?
I mean, you don't have to pay a penny until we're done with the work. We're one of the few.
Or maybe the only.
Maybe the only.
I wouldn't go to another company.
That's awesome.
800-672-4348, aluminumcompany.com.
Bring spring to your door with Target Circle 360. Get all you need for Easter hosting, spring get-togethers, and more with unlimited same-day delivery through Target Circle 360. From Easter basket goodies to fresh florals, getting everything the same day is easy. Open the Target app and bring the magic of the season to your door with unlimited same-day delivery through Target Circle 360. Visit target.com/circle or the Target app for more details. Subscription required. Same-day delivery is subject to terms. Applies to orders over $35.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
Thank you very much for your time, man. We will talk again.
Adam, anytime for you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Why does that make me laugh?
I don't know. Maybe you just are used to people being mean to you or something, like Twitter. I don't know.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. This happens every day. We get to the second hour, and I go, all right, there's a theme to our bump music today.
Right.
Foreigner is the artist here.
Mm-hmm.
So what is our theme today?
I've been doing 70s so far this show, but I just felt like Hot Blooded was sticking out. If we're going to talk about Bill Belichick, he's feeling super hot blooded these days.
There you go. There you go. There's no doubt about it. All right. All the jokes that I have running through my head now, I can't use.
None of them.
Not a single one of them.
Nope.
This would be a great time to talk to Al Hood, Tar Heel Blog, who joins us on the Adam Gold Show. I'm leaving all the jokes out. So let's just dig right in to the fact that the UNC portion of the internet is out of their mind with, I don't know, their anger, rage, jealousy, because Jordan, and I apologize for not knowing Jordan's last name. I would use it if I did. Bill Belichick's girlfriend seems to be, at the very least, running interference in between media requests, social media, and the head coach, and this gets people bent out of shape. Why?
I mean, we could go with the obvious reason here, and I can't help but to pick up that there may be a little bit of coding going on in there, and to where some of this is. There may be some people that are intimidated by a young woman that actually seems like that she actually has a head on her shoulders and actually has the regency to be able to do a job competently. But we'll set that to the side. I think mostly it's. I said this on Twitter earlier. Like, if if we had dug into emails and Mac Brown had said, you know what, I'm media savvy, but Sally is really good. She's gotten really good into social media. Let's just copy her on the emails so that, we can talk about this a little bit. Nobody would have batted an eye. And that's all this is. Like, Bill Belichick is a 70-plus-year-old man who has made it no secret that he doesn't care about the media, he doesn't care about social media, and he's working a job now where you actually do have to put a face forward about this. You actually do have to. You can't get away with being the gruff guy that you were in the NFL. Like, even Nick Saban understands that. Even if he was prickly with the media, he still understood the media relations bit of it. And especially when you're trying to recruit and you're trying to get the attention of college athletes and you're trying to get the attention of college-aged people. Well, if your girlfriend happens to be a social media influencer who is pretty skilled at that stuff, then yeah, you probably would want to include her on this stuff to try to help you take that off your plate. And if she were, so you've got that aspect of it, and obviously you have the May-December aspect of it too, which some people have issues with, and ultimately it's just a case that these are two consenting adults, and it's pretty clear at this point they understand what they are getting out of each other.
The May-December part of this, Al, is really more like March-December, but that's fine.
Well, yeah. I'm being kind.
But that's fine.
Because like I said, they are consenting adults. They are both consenting adults. It's like and it's pretty clear by her words and actions and what we've seen on social media and everything else that's going on. This isn't just some poor lass who is being taken advantage of by an older man. Like, she very clearly knows what she's doing.
So rather than put it into Mac Brown, Sally Brown terms, let's just say that Jordan Hudson, by the way, is her name. Let's just say that they're not boyfriend, girlfriend. Let's say she's not wearing his class ring, right? But she doesn't necessarily work for the university either. Let's say she's Steve Belichick's wife in this case. Is anybody really complaining about this? Because she's not really doing anything. I think people are more put off by the fact that she's the girlfriend than anything else in this situation. And, she clearly understands what she's doing. I think the video, this really started, I know there are some other issues here. This really, hit Plaid. This went to Plaid when the video surfaced. Good Spaceballs reference.
Yep.
When the video surfaced when she was at the last day of the spring practices, and she was walking around in that absolutely awesome Carolina long coat. That's a great coat. They should be selling those in the school store. The
peacock feather on it was just was amazing. It was awesome. I said this on Twitter yesterday, and I heard Victoria kind of allude to it earlier in the show. I also have no problem with her walking around like that. She's clearly she's clearly into fashion. She's clearly know what she's like, and everything is tailored and cut to make it look good. It's just, you're walking on a natural grass field. Why are you wearing those boots that you're either aerating the turf at best, or at worst, one wrong slip and you're just, sinking right into it. I mean, this is fresh grass. They just put that turf in, so it can't be that firm,
Yeah, but I know it's always okay to aerate. Al Hood is joining us here. The one thing that is interesting about the emails that came out, there were two things about it. One that speaks to her youth, and that is being afraid of the criticism on social media. And if I were them, I'd love to see the whole chain where somebody says, it doesn't matter if fans are mad at this or that. It's not going to affect anything. Let fans be fans. There's a lot worse stuff said on social media and in the comment section. Just don't even pay attention to that. The other element that might bother some people, but it shouldn't, is the nepotism angle, because, we could all surmise that Steve Belichick is the defensive coordinator here because Bill Belichick happens to be his dad. But what are your thoughts on those two elements?
I mean, I do understand the PR aspect of it. I don't agree with it. And, I mean, if even those that are for this hiring, understand that it was going to be a package deal. I mean, that already came back all the way from the beginning that it was going to be a package deal. And if their decision is that they just want to they want to spin it the way that they are spinning it, then, I mean, that's them. I get it. I mean, take away the fact that UNC, if it were any other situation, they would probably want to try to avoid any spin of nepotism. And again, I think that goes back to I think that also goes back to the idea that this is something that Bill would not care about. If it were just up to him, he probably would just kind of shrug it off and just mumble something along the lines of, well, he's
right. But here's the thing about it. If his last name was, Smith, he was a defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. He was the defensive coordinator for the University of Washington. So he's got qualifications. He does. Be the defensive coordinator at UNC.
He absolutely does, and that's the thing. It's honestly one of the reasons why I didn't mind the move. I actually had, if you hired a different college coach but brought in Steve Belichick as the defensive coordinator, I would have been fine, because I saw exactly what Washington did on defense last year. It was really respectable in a hard conference, what he was able to do basically his first year in college football. Like, it is worth bringing up, and on some level, like you also understand it from Bill's perspective of, hey, he wants this to be short.
Yeah.
So he wants to be as comfortable as possible. At least he's bringing in someone who's got the college experience. People keep citing the fact that going and spending time with his son out at Washington and seeing how Steve did things was what made him think he could actually do college. That and the fact that no NFL team would take him. But
yeah.
That was cited as a reason. So again, take out the last name Belichick, put in a different last name, and say Bill spent time with Nick Saban. I mean, he's retired, but Nick Saban's defensive coordinator, who he happened to be friends with, or he just spent time with Nick Saban, and then all of a sudden he brings Nick Saban in as a coach. Like, it's the same idea. It just happens to have, because it's in the family, he does happen to have it. Like, and the other part that all of this is being amplified by the fact, and Carolina signed up for this. There's a part of me that feels like that a good chunk of the folks at Carolina, like in the athletics and the people who had the money for this, they actually aren't upset about this, because it's just it's keeping their name in football in discussion during a slow time of year.
Exactly.
But it's also continually being amplified by Boston. The primary people that showed the video of that was one of Boston's morning radio shows. They talk about this. So as little as they care about this, he's still so stuck in their heads that they have the platform that keeps amplifying this. And this is honestly, again, I separate the doubts that I have about this working. I do have doubts about this working. UNC has got to be thrilled that they're essentially getting what they paid for, in terms of the fact that they had a disappointing basketball season. They've actually had a pretty decent transfer portal the last couple of weeks. And all of a sudden, most people have kind of moved away from that, and they're talking about the football team. And we're still 4 months away from the first game.
I've said this before. I'll say it here. I've two more quick things for Al Hood before we have to say goodbye. I believe that more, I guess this is not literal, but figurative ink will be spilled on UNC football this year than any other program in the United States for this particular season, because we're all here for the experiment. We are all here to watch, good or bad. In fact, I would say that 500 probably would fall into the bad category.
That would be bad.
That we are all here to see whether or not this is going to work or it's not. And the people who doubt that it will work, I've said 100 times, they are more likely to be right than not. But on the off chance it does work, this could be awesome. I think it will be fun. Real quick, that Boston radio station, I believe, says that Jordan Hudson is going to pursue Miss Maine 2025.
I caught that, yeah.
I have no idea if she's really a candidate or not. More power to you. I hope she wears, the gown. I hope it's Carolina blue. Do they still do swimsuits? I don't think they do. I think we probably got rid of that. That's a stupid thing anyway. I hope whatever it is, I hope it's Carolina blue. Final thing, you mentioned transfer portal. Football portal opens up. Is Nico, the name I can't pronounce, is he coming out in Chapel Hill, Al?
He credit to Inside Carolina and others who, for about 8 hours, it looked like Carolina was interested, but now it looks like they've moved on. I apologize.
They don't have the money. They don't have $2.4 million to throw at him.
They're most likely going to get. A former starter. God, I had it off the top of my head. I wrote about it today.
The kid in South Alabama.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they're using that to try to. I think they're using someone so that Bryce Baker has someone else in camp that he can kind of model his game that kind of fits a little bit more with Bryce Baker's mold. Because right now the other two they still have Max Johnson. They have the transfer from Purdue, more arms are better. Second off, having someone that might match Bryce's skill set a little bit also isn't the worst thing in the world.
Al Hood. We didn't even talk Canes. We'll do that. We'll do that soon. I promise. I appreciate your time, sir. Al Hood, Tar Heel blog. Go check him out, and also Canes Country. He works for both. Sir. Appreciate it, my man.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Al Hood here on the Adam Gold Show. There's no such thing as bad publicity when we're talking about UNC football. I mean, unless we're talking about an actual scandal, this is not it. Then what I said months ago when Bill Belichick was hired, what I have said all the way through, we will never talk about UNC football as much ever again as we are talking about them this year. Again, there's no reason on this earth that North Carolina versus TCU would be moved to the the Labor Day night season opening weekend finale. No way is North Carolina TCU in that spot. You have two football programs that are not in any way, shape, or form on anybody's national radar, except for one reason: Bill Belichick. All right, is it? It's mail time.
You've got mail.
Oh, we have mail. And the questions keep coming in. And I'm telling you, if you ask questions that are not Hurricanes related.
Yes.
Because I wrote down a bunch, and I've got like 15 here, and 13 are about the Hurricanes. Do you have any questions there, Victoria?
I do.
Or
and
any not about the Hurricanes?
I've got one that's a golf related.
All right, so let me do one or two Hurricanes things, and then we'll read a couple of golf because I have like two other topics. So let's just go with the last one I got from Addie. You got 14 healthy forwards. Tyson Jost will come out of the lineup as well as he's played. He'll come out of the lineup. Who's the next guy? And they suggested Eric Robinson or Jack Roslovic. And I would say that I don't believe Eric Robinson's coming out of the lineup. I don't think Robinson's coming out. I don't think Jankowski is coming out. But I think Robinson is higher on the list than Jankowski to stay in. I do think that Jack Roslovic, a team that needs goals, might very well ice, or rather bench, a 21-goal scorer. And their only right-handed center.
Wow.
I do think that he is the best candidate to not be in the lineup game one against the Devils, whenever it is, either Sunday or Monday. And I actually think it's more likely that it's Monday, but I don't know. I really do not know what the deal is with the playoffs. But so there's that question. To me, it's Jost out, Roslovic out, and then we can deal with all sorts of combinations. I think we're likely to see Martinook, Stahl, and Stankoven on the road. Martinook, Stahl, and Carrier as a trio at home. And real quick, the team practiced today. Everybody practiced. Shane Gostisbehere was back. Jesperi Kokaniemi was back. The only one who wasn't practicing was Jordan Martinook, which leads me to believe that he is dealing with an issue.
Yeah.
That they may give him tomorrow and Thursday off. All right, got a lot of questions about targeting in free agency, whether it's a center or a forward or a defenseman or a goalie. It's really not a great free agent class for centers. It just isn't. So the best center available is Sam Bennett, and he's going to re-sign with Florida.
Yeah.
The second best center, in my opinion, the second best center available in free agency is Morgan Geekie with Boston. He's got 32 goals this year. I don't know that the Hurricanes are going to pay Morgan Geekie what a 32-goal scorer is likely to get on the open market. But I will say this. While I don't look at him necessarily as a... First of all, he's not even playing center for Boston. He's playing on the wing, I believe. But he is a center. And he is right-handed. And he's always been able to score. And he certainly didn't suck when Carolina had him. They just lost him in the expansion draft.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be completely against a Morgan Geekie reunion, but I don't think he is an ideal second center for this particular team. Goalies, no good goalies in free agency, but I've said this 1,000 times. I think Carolina is more likely to trade for what they want in the future than they are, and take advantage of teams that have cap issues, that need to shed or want to shed a little salary.
Makes sense.
But I could also see him going after, I think Brock Besser is a free agent with Vancouver. If you like Brock Besser, and I think there are people who do, I'm not in love with Brock Besser. I could see them going after somebody like him, but I don't know if the organization is high on him. I'll tell you who I do like is Nick Ehlers from Winnipeg. I could see them going after Ehlers, but he's a wing as well.
Yeah.
All right, to your golf question.
Okay, so this one is from Zachary on our YouTube stream. He said, "What do you think of Bryson's whining about Rory not talking to him?"
That was funny.
I thought it was funny.
I did too. Bryson DeChambeau seemed genuinely injured by the fact that Rory wouldn't talk to him. Like, dude, he was locked in. He needed to stay in his little bubble, which, by the way, burst probably on the first hole anyway. He was never going to be talkative. There's too much going on in his brain. He was never going to be talkative, Bryson. I get it. You are, in many ways, an extrovert for whatever reason, and I love what you represent. You're bringing more people into Bryson DeChambeau is bringing more people into the game of golf than Rory McIlroy is. Flat out. It was unnecessary to paint it that way. Like, I tried to talk to you. You wouldn't talk to me. Wouldn't say a word all day. I'm like, Tony Finau tells the story about playing with Tiger Woods in 2019. Tiger Woods won the Masters. I don't think Tiger was in the final group. I think he was in the second to last group. And Finau was in the group. And in 2019, they were like walking down the seventh fairway. Tiger hasn't said anything all day. And Finau walks up next to him and he goes, "So how are the kids?" And Tiger went, "They're good."
Period.
And kept walking. Yeah. And Tony was like, "Okay, ain't going to happen.
Right.
We're not going to have a conversation today." Hey, look, man, these guys have to get into their own little world. Some of them don't, but some of them do. And look, I don't know if Rory and Bryson don't like each other. I don't know if it was made worse last year at Pinehurst that Rory lost to Bryson. I mean, it might have been. And Rory might not like Bryson. I don't think there's anything like that there. But that was just so petty. All right, I have a golf question.
Oh, okay.
And I love this golf question. From Charlie. Asked me which was better or more impactful. Jack Nicklaus's Masters in 1975, Tiger's in 2019, or Rory's 2 days ago? And my answer to that is neither. None of them on that list would fall into my category of impactful. None of them. First of all, 75 was great because Nicklaus won, but it wasn't a better Masters than 86. Tiger's 97, the first Masters, was arguably the most influential golf tournament ever in modern history because of the amount of people who were inspired by what Woods did in 97. Because that was the start of the Tiger era, which is arguably still going on, to be honest. Rory talked about, these guys all do. These guys all talk about, man, when I watched 97, it got me into the game. And Woods 2019 would be on the list as well. I think what Rory did yesterday with the amount of pressure that was on him, or 2 days ago, the amount of pressure that was on him, the fact that the entire golf world was rooting for him. If you watch the Masters, the crowd was rooting for him. Every human being covering the Masters was rooting for him. It was amazing. Uncomfortable, to the point of it being uncomfortable. That it would go down as one of the greatest. First of all, the tournament, the final round was nuts. And just in terms of drama, Rory contributed to that. It was probably one of the greatest final rounds of a major championship we've ever seen. And the ratings, by the way, prove that.
Reflected it.
Maximum of 20 million people were watching the final round.
Wow.
It's up 33%.
I was going to say, that feels like a lot.
From last year. Yeah. Look, the two guys who moved the needle the most in golf were in the final group. Rory McIlroy moves the needle more than anybody on the PGA Tour, and Bryson DeChambeau arguably moves the needle more than him.
Yeah, doesn't hurt.
It's unfortunate for the tournament that Bryson was so bad. And he was bad. Those are not only his initials, but he was bad. But the fact that he was in the final group, I think, helped for the overall number. It was tremendous. All right, I have a WNBA question. What do you think about? I'm trying this. I don't know why I didn't write down who asked me. I apologize. What do you think of WNBA expansion in North Carolina? I'm in favor of WNBA expansion. It's arguably the most difficult league to get into. There's only 12 franchises. And the rosters, there's no WNBA G League. So if you don't make it, you have to go overseas to play. And not every one of these 12 will make it. Shouts to Sanaya Rivers and Azia James, both got drafted from NC State. But the Hornets don't do anything. In Charlotte, I can't imagine that North Carolina is high on expansion list. So I'd love to see the league get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's good basketball. It's growing in popularity, probably faster than any other sport in the United States. So let it keep going. But if the Hornets don't do well in Charlotte, I'm not sure why. Whatever. I guess there used to be a team in Charlotte. What were they called? The Sting. Right? The Sting. I'm not sure why the Sting, if they brought back the old the old name, if that would work. All right, one more. Let's see. If you have another one, we'll do it. I tried to answer as many free agent questions as I could. Alex writes, how short in the playoffs will the leash be for Brent Burns? And do you see Scott Morrow replacing him in the lineup? I'm going to be as nice as I can about this. We have an online infatuation about how bad Brent Burns is that is simply false. Mm-hmm. First of all, if Burns isn't even on the list to come out of the lineup. And I know people don't want to hear this either. A month ago I would have said Dmitry Orlov could, because he was bad a month ago.
Yes.
He hasn't been bad lately. He's been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So the two guys who I think fans have it in their brains are hurting this team the most are not. So, and to be honest, I know what certain numbers say. If you just look at plus minus, Shane Gostisbehere, who has played well, Shane Gostisbehere looks like Carolina's best defenseman. He's not. Jacob Slavin is still their best defenseman. Slavin hasn't been good, by the way, the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
But nobody's taking Jacob out of the lineup because we're smarter than that. I want us to be smarter than that with Brent Burns and Dmitry Orlov. Ice time will tell you a lot, people. Carolina's 6th best defenseman, as much as we like him, and I do like him, is Sean Walker. And if Morrow were to draw in, and frankly, Morrow's not that good. He will be. He's not now. We're talking about it in today's terms. Morrow isn't anywhere close to being good enough to play in the playoffs, barring an injury. And it'll be Alexander Nikishin who would draw in over Scott Morrow anyway. And I got several questions about Nikishin. If he doesn't play in the regular season, he's going to be break glass in case of emergency. That's the only way he's going to get in the lineup. Man, we got to stop assuming that Brent Burns is no good. Brent Burns has been good.
I know.
I feel like I'm always defending him, and I just shouldn't have to defend him. He's been better than people think. They see a mistake. He sucks. Get him out of the lineup. They don't notice the good things he does. But when you point out, man, Jacob could have done better there. Crickets.
Yeah.
Crickets. I realize Jacob Slavin, I'm not trying to compare the two players. Slavin has a whole bunch of goodwill in the bank that Brent Burns doesn't have. So I get it. But Burns has been better than most of you believe. I did have a question from Aaron. Biggest weakness for the Hurricanes going into the playoffs? I'll state the obvious.
Yeah.
Goaltending.
Right.
That's just the obvious.
I feel like it's been the biggest, weakest
all
thing.
Year.
The whole
all
thing.
year.
Yeah.
All year. If the Hurricanes get above average goaltending, I think they'll beat the Devils.
Mm-hmm. ...
Yeah. You finish the sentence.
I know.
That's the weakness. And right now they're not getting above average goaltending.
Yeah. No, I've got one from Don if you want to talk about college football. So, why is nobody talking about the quarterback at Duke getting $4 million per year, but everyone is talking about Nico at Tennessee?
Because the quarterback at Duke didn't hold out. That's why.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I had read that it was $4 million, but he might not be getting $4 million. Seems like a lot.
That's a lot.
But
yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. But because he's not holding out. So it doesn't expose the cracks in the system. The problem isn't with Nico Iamaleava, whatever his name is, or Tennessee. The problem is not with these two entities. The problem is the system that has no rules.
Mm-hmm.
No rules. You know who should set the rules? The NCAA should set the rules. They should allow collective bargaining, but they won't. So we will have this mess. Stretching and wagering next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the NBA play-in tournament is almost upon us, and FanDuel is giving all new customers a chance at $250 in bonus bets. Join today, place your first $5 wager. If that wins, $250 of their money belongs to you. 3-pointers, steals, assists, whatever. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS for the NBA play-in tournament. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare Savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
70 years ago, PBS North Carolina began its journey, and you, North Carolina, have been with us every step of the way. From the adventures of Mr. Rogers to the mysteries of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, you've inspired us to keep going. Thanks to you, we've been able to expand beyond TV, touching lives in classrooms and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. In the wall of sound later, we have something that you absolutely must hear that happened on the Braves broadcast last night. Atlanta's playing in Toronto.
Yes.
Something that was uncomfortably funny, yet at the same time unsettling.
Yes,
but
all at the same time.
We'll do that. We'll bring that to you in the wall of sound. So a little pre-promotion for that coming up. Right now, it's time to stretch.
Okay, so like we have mentioned already once today, in case people were unaware, it's tax day. So no one loves tax day, but there is a perk because apparently there are places out there who want to help make you feel better by giving you a deal. So, for instance, Krispy Kreme has a buy one, get one deal where you buy a dozen donuts, and the second one you only have to pay sales tax, basically. But it's not really buy one, get one free. It's buy one, get one cheaper. So I guess if you want to go that route. There are other places like Burger King where you can get 1-cent cheeseburgers, but you have to be their Royal Perks member, whatever that is, and go through their app. Everybody's got an app. There's also 7-Eleven that has a delivery deal. I totally was like, what? A delivery? It's a gas station, but okay. And then other places like Smoothie King, Potbelly. So if you are interested in any kind of tax day deals to kind of make the day better, it is out there. Just have to find them. But maybe you could get a little extra dough with our bets.
Place your bets, place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right, let's go.
Okay, well, on the ice, today, the Chicago Blackhawks are going to be in Ottawa taking on the Senators. I would like the Senators to get their win out tonight. So give me the Senators to win, and I'll take the under 6.5. That's plus 140.
All right. NBA play-in game number 1. Hawks at the Magic. I kind of think the Hawks are going to win this game. Hawks are the 8th seed. The Magic would be the 7. And Atlanta's plus 180. But just to hedge it a little bit, give me the Hawks plus 5.5 and Trae Young to make at least 3 threes. That's plus 155. If you want to say he'll make at least 4, that's plus 250. Your choice. But I like the Hawks plus 5.5 as well.
Okay. Let's see here. We've got the Anaheim Ducks. They're going to be in Minnesota taking on the Wild. Give me the Wild to win. And I'll take over 5.5. Maybe it'll be a high-scoring game. Plus 130.
All right. Jimmy Butler. Playoff Jimmy activated. Give me the Warriors minus 7. Jimmy Butler to score 20 or more. Plus 150 in that one. Playoff Jimmy is here. We want the Warriors to advance. We want the Warriors and the Lakers to play in the semifinals.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And the NBA's play-in tournament tips off tonight. It is Atlanta in Orlando, and Golden State hosts Memphis. And FanDuel is giving all new customers a chance at $250 in bonus bets. You win your first $5 wager, you get $250 of their money to mess around with. It's good when it's somebody else's money, and that's for new customers. A little incentive for you. By the way, Trae Young, 4 or more made threes tonight for the Hawks, plus 134. Kind of dig it. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Let's play in. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
A few contest rules from sports radio stations The Fan, The Buzz. No purchase necessary. 21 to enter and play. Limited to 1 entry per person and 1 prize winner per family or household per contest every 30 days. Employees of Capital Broadcasting, its agencies, sponsors, subsidiaries, other broadcast companies, and immediate families of the above are ineligible to play. Winners are verified, complete documentation, and are responsible for all taxes and prizes received. All prizes are non-transferable and cannot be redeemed for cash. Winners give sports radio the right to publicize his or her name, likeness, or voice. Sports may change contest rules and prizes at any time and holds no liability for canceled or postponed events. Complete info of sports radio contests available at WRALSportsFan.com or during normal business hours at 3100 Highwoods Boulevard in Raleigh.
Parenting is hard. Technology can make it harder. The Family Media Plan developed by the American Academy of Pediatrics helps make it easier. Go Go to healthychildren.org/media plan today to create the media plan that's right for your family.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low fives, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 16617881, subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
It is I, Juan Carlos Santiago del Santiago, the coolest man in the world. Yes, I am back in Raleigh. Do I go downtown with so many places to party? No, I go to the Sharky's place. The good food, the fine drinks, the coldest of beers, and of course, the many, many beautiful people. I always hang at the Sharky's place, the coolest bar in the world, because, well, it was built for me. Juan Carlos Santiago del Santiago, the coolest man in the world. The Sharky's place, 8800 de Raleigh Road by the Shelley Station.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I look at the landscape of college football. Everybody keeps referring to it right now as professional football. And the only thing that's professional about it is the money. There's not much professionalism right now in the wild, wild west.
Good way to put it.
In the NFL, we have certified agents. You have to take a test. You have to get certified. There's some parameters around these players in order to try to protect them. There's none of that in college football. And so who are you getting your advice from? Who are you surrounding yourself with?
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's Amber Wilson from ESPN Radio. She's also an attorney. Yeah, the problem is the system. I said this earlier. Problem isn't that Nico, name I can't pronounce well, wants more money from Tennessee, nor is the problem Tennessee saying, we don't want to pay you any more money than we already agreed to pay you, so don't let the door hit you in the rear end on the way out. That's not the problem. The problem is the fact that we have no system. I hate using the term wild, wild west because it is the ultimate in cliche. But here's what's interesting to me about this whole thing. Because we still do not have a settlement approved by Judge Wilkin in California for House versus the NCAA. The hearing was last Monday. It flipped over into Tuesday. And she said, I'll give you guys a week, file briefs. I would like these two areas changed. She wanted the roster limits, which were rigid. She wanted the roster limits to be grandfathered in. So players who were currently on rosters who otherwise would be removed from those rosters based on the roster limits, she wanted them to be allowed to stay. And then eventually will gradually lower the limits on each roster. So much like we did through COVID, right? We gradually kind of weaned our way off of the COVID players. Those players who were given extra years because of COVID. So that's what she asked. You know what the Power 5 league said? Nope, ain't doing it. They did not amend that. Now, it might not be a deal breaker. She might still sign it. And the other area she wanted to amend, they actually did make a tweak, which was she didn't want future athletes to be automatically bound by the current system. because she surmised that it is unfair for athletes who really don't have any other recourse where to play. She found it unfair for, a 10-year-old to be bound by an agreement 8 years after it was signed. And this actually, you don't even have to go to a 10-year-old. You can go to a high school sophomore. The bigger issue for me, and we're going to get to the wall of sound here in a second, the much bigger issue, and you've heard me say this a billion times, they're coming up with an agreement. Okay, they're going to sign that agreement, which doesn't protect against future legal action. But right now, there are 5 senators in Washington who are trying to come up with a college sports bill. And it is going to put limits on what players can earn. It's going to put limits on what schools can provide, which, by the way, the House settlement provides a cap of, I think it's like $22 million per school. And you know what it's going to mean going forward? Nothing. Because it'll mean something now, but artificially limiting earning when you've already agreed to pay players is a violation. It is illegal to do that. They are open to antitrust lawsuits all over the place. Either collectively bargain or deal with this. Those are your options. I just don't understand why they don't figure this out. We're worried about kids getting bad advice. I think the NCAA is getting bad advice. Time for the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Dan Morgan, your general manager of the Carolina Panthers. We have all sat here and said, hey, at number 9 or number 8? Number 8. Saints draft 9. Number 8. Would you consider trading back, Dan Morgan?
I don't really want to get into specifics on like where I would trade back to, but I think we're definitely open to trading back and acquiring more picks. I think we're going to be open, to all possibilities. Let's put it that way.
All right, so let's expand on that. Let's say you're really hot on edge rushers, which they are, and there's 3 or 4 or 5 that you really like, and they're all there at number 8. Would you trade? How far back would you trade? How do you balance these two things?
Obviously, we'll count numbers and, in terms of outside backers and interior guys, it's definitely a strong class, which we're excited about because, I think that's still an emphasis that we want to address is, just make our front seven as strong as it can be. So we'll look at all in every scenario, but, yeah, we'll definitely look into that.
Yeah. I think it would be wise to trade back. I really do. All right, one more thing from Dan Morgan, general manager of the Panthers. They had a press conference today. What is the process that he and Dave Canales and everybody else go through for the draft?
I think there's honest conversations. We're not afraid to challenge each other. And that doesn't go just for me and Coach Canales. That goes for myself and, our whole staff. I challenge our staff I want them to challenge me. I think it needs to be that type of room. I think as long as you're getting to the final answer that's, going to give us the best player and come to the best solution, then that's what you have to do.
Does anybody challenge David Tepper? I mean, it's a legitimate question. It's rhetorical because they're not here to answer. But I wonder if that question was... Because that would be my follow-up. For an owner that has shown the proclivity to insert himself in the decision-making process rather than just say, is that your decision, Dan? You know better than I. If it's your decision, then it's my decision.
Yeah.
We kind of think that he has maybe overruled some people in the past.
Yeah.
I would be curious as to whether or not anybody can overrule David Tepper.
A lot of us are thinking the same
That
thing.
is my question. All right, Pete Thamel, ESPN College Football Insider. We talked about revenue sharing. What will its impact be in college sports?
So on Monday, the previous Monday, the day of the national championship game, there was a hearing in Northern California, Judge Claudia Wilkin, on the House settlement, which is really the settlement of 3 court cases that will sort of backdoor set a new standard for how college athletics operate next year. And that includes being able to share revenue somewhere in the neighborhood of $20.5 million at schools. And so basically, to condense it, colleges can finally directly pay athletes for the first time in history. And with that comes a salary cap, and with that comes people trying to already circumvent the salary cap. As we know, in college sports, there's a long-standing tradition of rules being made and then a mad scramble to break those rules. And we have already gotten to that mad scramble here.
It's going to be interesting to see what the judge does based on the fact that the NCAA has said, yeah, we're not changing the roster size. We're giving out more scholarships. Yeah, but you're taking away opportunity. And that's the bad part. That's the bad part of all of this, by the way. Baseball is going to be able to offer as many as, I think, 33 or 34 scholarships. But what's unsaid is that most rosters are around 40. So those are spots that are going to be lost. Nobody wants to lose opportunity here. All right. I mentioned this earlier. Wiley Ballard does reporting for Braves telecasts on FanDuel Sports Network. So they're in Toronto, and he was up in like the party deck, and he was just talking to random people. Keep in mind, he's in Toronto. The Atlanta Braves are based in Atlanta.
Very far away.
And this is live on the Braves game.
We're having a lot of fun up here up the Corona rooftop. Who do we got here? What's your name?
My name's Lauren.
Lawrence, all right.
And I'm Kayla.
Kayla, and you guys hang out at the rooftop lounge often?
Once a year I come out to visit.
Okay, well, we timed it pretty well. All right, good. How are you guys feeling about rooting for the Braves today?
Oof, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best.
What about you? Are you a Braves fan now?
Not quite.
Not quite. All right, I'm gonna go to work up here, guys. Good luck the rest of the way.
Okay, Wiley. You got 4 innings to get the numbers.
I'm on it.
What?
Get us some more Braves fans.
All right, so they want me to get your number.
They want you to get my number.
I'm dead serious. They're saying in my ear right now. She didn't believe me because she thinks you guys are not. I'm making this up. Even if you guys weren't, I might use that in the future. That's actually a pretty good move.
This is unbelievable. So the best part of this right now is that Wiley could totally be faking it. This might be the new move. Just walk around with a FanDuel microphone and an earpiece in and convince fans that they're actually on TV.
I should have thought of this years ago.
I am speechless.
I got the number. We're good.
So,
wow.
First of all, I think it was Kayla who actually entered her number into Wiley's phone.
Yeah, somebody actually did that.
I don't even care. That is I don't even know.
It's really creepy. It's real. And the fact that he's like, okay, I'm going to go to work up here. I'm like, buddy. It's weird.
I mean, I obviously didn't watch the game. I saw that on social media. I watched it. I went, that really happened?
Uh-huh. Oh, and the light bulb went, like, if you watch it, the light bulb went off in his head.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to use this in the future.
In every city.
Every single city.
Show me a party deck. Yeah. I will be there.
I'm going to be there. Going to go to
Look,
work.
They opened up a 3-game series in Toronto.
Right.
She entered her number into his phone.
That's it. There you go.
Time to take a break. When we come back, EJ Hradek, NHL Network. We are closing in on the end of the season. Only a couple of spots still remain. We'll talk about the playoffs with EJ next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but that doesn't mean me and my co-host, WRAL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as the NFL Draft approaches, insight on free agents and prospects, plus all the insider info on who the Panthers want to pick at number 8. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Hey, business owners out there, if you are looking for a great team-building experience or a treat for your employees, Adam Gold here for X Golf in Cary, North Carolina's premier indoor golf experience. Off US 64 in the McGregor Village Shopping Center, a great reward for your sales team for making budget, maybe a new spot for the office party, or hey, just take a long lunch and get in an emergency night at Pebble Beach. I'm telling you, off the charts. Great bar menu as well. Online, playxgolf.com/Cary.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, score the confidence you need to start your journey with the power and exceptional capability of a new Ford F-150. With available smart tech like Pro Power on board, it's game on when F-150 is part of your team. For great offers and to learn more about a new Ford F-150, go to buyfordnow.com or see your Carolina Ford dealer today. Always consult the owner's manual for important operating instructions.
Need CPAP supplies fast? I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers, and we are the Triangle's top sleep provider, offering quick access to the equipment you need for better sleep. Get the right supplies right when you need them. With over 20 years of experience, our expert team is here to help you sleep better, sooner.
Discover why so many trust Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Visit parkwaysleep.com now and start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Listen up, Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. So let's do it again and get vaccinated. We're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults under 50. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com to schedule. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is Adam Gold.
But whenever you say, well, we're not using this as an excuse. No, we are. Whether it's justifiable or not can be a different discussion. But you are.
It's like the equivalent of saying no offense, but ...
Offense coming.
Yeah, get ready for it.
Look out. Here we come with some offense for you.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the 1s and 2s. Best Jackson Browne song, this or Doctor My Eyes, either one.
Yeah.
I was on a radio show this morning. I go on with the guys in Charlotte every Tuesday, and they bashed Bruce Springsteen because it's the hockey playoffs, and apparently all hockey media loves Bruce Springsteen. I know John Forsland does. I would never, ever slander Bruce Springsteen. So he's bringing E.J. Hradek from NHL Network, host NHL Tonight, first shift. You're a Springsteen guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, why can't we all just get along? I mean, why can't we just get along? I mean, like, first of all, I love Jackson Browne. The Pretender album, I think I wore that album out when I was a teenager.
Yep.
And still love to listen to it. It still holds up. It's just a terrific work. And, yeah, I'm big. I was actually listening to a concert that I was at in Philadelphia, a Springsteen concert from 2016 on the ride up to work today, and I was enjoying every minute of it. So
yeah, exactly.
I just say, listen, enjoy what you enjoy, whatever it is. And, you know, I'm not going to judge others. So they can enjoy what they want, and that's the beauty of music and books and movies and TV shows. We all can have an opinion.
E.J. Hradek joining us here on the Adam Gold Show at EJ Hradek _NHL. All right, let me get to, because we have a couple of spots that are not up for grab. Almost everything is settled, including seeding. We have known, although it wasn't official until some point last week, but we have known that it was going to be Washington, Carolina, New Jersey in the Metro. Toronto separated themselves from Tampa Bay, although that's not official. That's the only spot in the three divisions where the top three is not solidified. We know the three teams. Toronto's magic number to clinch number one seed in the Atlantic is 1. That's going to happen. Tampa Bay is going to be 2. We know Florida's 3, and we know the three teams in each of the divisions on the other side. But of the teams that are still kind of jockeying, what are you looking at right now? I know you watched Montreal and Chicago last night, and the Canadiens look like they might be a ton of fun when we get to the playoffs. How good do you think they are?
Well, they're fun. I mean, they're ahead of schedule, right? I sent somebody a note last night. I said, we could be watching, like, the final 5 years from now. I mean, really, Chicago's got a ton of young players that are going to be good players, and they acquired Spencer Knight, who's still a good young player, and he can be their goalie and grow with their team. And, they got to get it right? Yeah. So it's going to take time, but that Rinzel has come in and played well. They've Schunoff. Bedard looked good last night. They play at a high tempo.
Yeah.
And then, Montreal, it's been one of the crazy years. It's been up, it's been down, it's been back, it's been forth. It's been everywhere this year. And, they're right on the edge of getting this, this playoff spot. But they've lost 3 in a row now, and that's been their year, Adam. They've lost, they've been 1-5, lose 3, win 8, lose 7. So we'll see if they can finish it off, but they're fun to watch. And then this Davidoff kid comes in last night, and he looks like he's been playing in the NHL for 5 years.
Yeah,
just stepped right in and was amazing to watch. And the Bell Center and the fans there all revved up for him. And they've got some other. Obviously, Suzuki's turning into a superstar centerman, captain of their team, and Caulfield and Hudson, and they got more coming. Slavkovsky. So these are, like I said, it was old school though, like Bell Center last night, Montreal, Chicago, original 6. And I just started thinking, maybe 5 years from now, that's the Stanley Cup final. I don't know, but Montreal need to take care of business still, or hope that Columbus kind of stumbles here. But it's been a weird year for the teams at the bottom in that chase, and it ain't over till it's over, as they say.
Yeah, the Blue Jackets have to win in Philadelphia tonight, and I think they need to win in regulation. I think they need both of their games to be regulation wins. So they need to win in Philly tonight, and then they have to hope that Carolina puts out a representative NHL lineup tomorrow night in Montreal, which, that wouldn't guarantee a win for the Hurricanes anyway. Canes dressed their whole team and lost 4-0 in Montreal coming out of the break, or the second game out of the break. So anything could happen. But they're going to need some help from Carolina for Columbus. Maybe we could do Don Waddell a solid. I don't know. Do you give – what kind of chance do you give Montreal? Because I assume they're going to get in. What kind of chance do you give them of beating Washington in the first round?
Well, I give them much more of a chance now than I did a month ago. And a lot of that is because of Washington. The last 3 or 4 weeks, it's been the Ovi chase, and that was, unbelievable. Everybody followed along, and he ended up getting that done. But the thing that was going on with this team was, they weren't winning a lot of those games, and they've been giving up way more goals.
Yeah.
And they've had a couple of injuries. I mean, Protas being out, we'll see if he can get back for the playoffs. I think he started skating again. This is a big, strong guy that has 30 goals this year, and he's a plus 40, and he's an important piece of their team. And, then Thompson has been out, and, in goal.
Yeah.
Until you do it, nobody's afraid of you. Like Thompson, and Charlie Lindgren, neither one of those guys has backstopped the long playoff run.
Nope.
So, that's an area of some concern, particularly when you're not defending as well and you're chasing games more. We've seen this movie, Adam, where a team has a great regular season and then some adversity comes along late and they get derailed. So we'll see. But Montreal, if indeed they get in, they're going to have that crazy crowd on their side in Montreal. Montembeault is a talented goaltender. They can score goals. It's kind of a battle of styles. Because Washington's bigger and stronger, but Montreal is fast and skilled, so could make for an interesting series. I know about 15 years ago they played in the first round, and the Capitals were an unbelievable team, a better team then than they are now. And somehow Euro Halak, not even Carey Price, but Euro Halak was able to win in 7 games. Washington had a 3-1 lead in that series, and Washington ended up losing the series. So, who knows? I give them, to answer the question, I give Montreal, if indeed they make it, or Columbus, a better chance now just because I'm not as sold on Washington.
EJ Hradek, NHL Network, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Before I go back to Carolina's first-round series with New Jersey, which, again, we've known this for a long time, Dallas and Colorado are going to clash in round 1. That seems unfair on so many levels because these are, in my opinion, points notwithstanding, and that's how we determine where the seeds go anyway. I'm not sure Dallas and Colorado, when fully operational, aren't the 2 best teams in the entire league, and they're going to meet in the first round. So how do you see this?
Yeah, well, you said it, fully operational, right? Dallas is without – they are not fully operational. They're without Merrill Heiskanen, who's their best defenseman, who's a guy that can play 25-plus minutes a night and, can carry the mail and get you out of trouble in the D zone and can play against, the very best players on Colorado and match them head-to-head. It's the regular season – they give the Stars credit. They got through the regular season and played very well without him, but it's a different animal in a 7-game situation against a very, very highly skilled and talented Colorado Avalanche team that, might even be getting another piece, Gabriel Landeskog, back in the mix for the playoffs. Not that he's going to be the Gabe Landeskog that, we remember from 3 years ago. The guy hasn't played since 2022, but he's a talented player. He's the captain of their team, and he'll be an inspirational leader, I would imagine, for this group. So I think Dallas Stars are going to be, it's going to be a challenge for them without Heiskanen. It looks like they're going to get Sagan back, which is good for them. They've got a deep group of forwards. Otter's going to have to be terrific, I think, in the series. And I think the area where they can take advantage maybe is that depth of the Avalanche defense. After Makar and Taves, it falls off, and I think that might be an area where a deep group of Dallas Stars forwards might be able to make some hay and see if they can get under Mackenzie Blackwood a little bit, who has been really good since coming over from San Jose, but he has never really been in this position before. So, that's where Dallas has to try to find a way to win the series.
It's funny, guys who are basically career backups, get on a good run as a starter, and then Colorado. Look, it might work out, right? Aiden Hill wasn't really the guy until he was the guy for Vegas. EJ Hradek is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I think Cale Makar is going to play 28 minutes a night. So will Taves. They'll
Probably
play forever.
True.
Say again?
Yeah, probably true.
Yeah.
Probably true.
All right, let me get to the Devils and the Hurricanes. It's funny, we're so in our little bubble here about, somebody asked me today, what's the biggest weakness Carolina's got? And I didn't even hesitate, and I said goaltending. We don't know. We don't know what you're going to get out of Pyotr Kochetkov. The last handful of games from Frederik Andersen, the last 3 games have been okay. Nothing better than okay. And you can't be just okay in the playoffs and survive a series. But the Devils are kind of in the same boat at this stage of the game. Jacob Markstrom hasn't been the same since his injury. Jake Allen is good, but Jake Allen is also not awesome. So when you look at this matchup, what are you focusing on?
The goaltending.
Right? That's what it's going to come down to.
I mean, is that we can just replay our conversations from the last 5 years. I don't know. I mean, that's going to be the thing. What happens with the goaltending for Carolina? I'm going to assume Markstrom is going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be great, but I think he'll be good. I've watching him play. He hasn't been that bad. I mean, he's got his ups and downs, but he's a guy that's played in these spots before. And first time with New Jersey, so I have a little more confidence in him than I have in either guy for Carolina. It looks like Dougie Hamilton is inching towards a return for the Devils, and that helps just because he can play a lot of minutes and help them on the power play. I mean, these teams played 4 times this year, but they haven't played since the end of 2024. Right? In December, they played a home and home. The games have been, I think 3 of the games were 4-2, and one of them was 5-2 because Roslovic had the nerve to put it in an empty net when he should have just left the game alone at 4-2. But I mean, I like your team. I like Carolina to win the series, but you always got to worry about the goaltending. Go back to last year. I mean, they were winning that game against the Rangers and playing really well, and then Freddie Andersen gave up a couple of bad goals. Mm-hmm. And it just deflates your team. I mean, I can't say it enough about how when the goaltending is not up to snuff, or it just everything that you do. I always go back to the Blues when Binnington showed up.
Right.
They had a good team. They were in last place because the goaltending kept undermining all the little things that they were doing well, and so. It's like the garden can't grow without the goaltending, And so when, Carolina does a lot of things well in games, but when you're undermined by the goalie on that bench, I don't care what these guys tell you after the game. I mean, it impacts you. So if they can get solid goaltending, it's something to build on. Carolina Hurricanes are in a good spot, I think, because I think they can beat the Devils. I think it's a good matchup for them. And then I think they could probably beat whoever comes out of that other matchup. I mean, so it could be a really good path for the Hurricanes. But, I almost feel like you might want to just just ride with Kochetkov because they've really never done that before. And, I think we know with Freddie Andersen at some point in time, it's just not going to happen.
Right. Here's what I would do, and I've been saying this, EJ. Kochetkov has not played well in a while now. I would not ride with Kochetkov, but I think Rod Brindamore has no choice but to use him. I think Freddie gives them the highest floor, maybe not as high a ceiling as Kochetkov, but he gives them the highest floor on a steady basis. But they got to keep him healthy and stop him from wearing down. So I think Carolina's going to have to use both goalies and just hope. And look, if Kochetkov, snaps back to the guy who played, in a 5-game stretch before this recent 5-game stretch where he looked like the best goalie in the league, then you can always go back and use him more. He is more equipped to play on a regular basis. Who do you think right now is the best team in the East?
Until somebody beats them, I think Florida is still the best team in the East. They haven't played that way, but they have been missing players. Matthew Tkachuk is obviously a big story, right? Is he going to be back healthy and playing, right? So if we assume he's going to come back and play, to me, Florida is still the best team because they can play a lot of different ways and win. Now, they've played a ton of hockey in the last 2+ years. They were in the final 2 years ago, won the Stanley Cup last year. They've dealt with injury issues. They've had to change some people around. So, this will not be easy. That's why very rarely do teams repeat, right? I mean, we don't see it too often.
Right.
So it's difficult under the best of circumstances. And they've got a challenge in the first round. It'll likely be the Tampa Bay Lightning, who will be really itching to get even with Florida, for, knocking them out last year and kind of getting the better of them in the last couple of years. So that said, I mean, still, if they're healthy and playing well, I think they're just hard to beat. Because they know what they have an identity. They know exactly what they want to do. They wear you down. They've got, a deep group. So to me, they're the best team when everything's going well. But as you know, in the playoffs, that never happens. And, when it does, it happens once. It happened to them last year. Probably not going to happen for them this year. Tampa could easily take them out.
Yeah.
I mean, Toronto will be in a weird situation because they'll be a big favorite with all the pressure against Ottawa, who will be running fast and loose. And if the goalie plays well, I mean, that could go downhill for Toronto. But, they can take care of that. They've had good success against Tampa. It'll be harder against Florida. But, that's a tough – it's just like we talked about in the Central, right? I mean, it's just a harder path. Dallas has to play Colorado and Winnipeg. If they advance, they're like the Toronto of that division. Then can they win, right? So – this is why we love it, Adam. This is why every year at this time of year we're talking about it. And there's all these unforeseen things. I mean, remember last year, nobody was talking about how are the Leafs do without William Nylander because he's going to miss time because of a migraine headache issue, right? So, then Joseph Wall, was supposed to play in Game 7. He gets hurt. And, nobody knew until, game time. I mean, there's going to be a lot of twists and turns. The playoffs are always, to me, matchups and injuries. I think the Canes have a good matchup for them. I think they play well against New Jersey. I think they can beat them. And then, we'll see where they go from there. But I do think, when you think about the path in the Metropolitan Division is one that somebody is going to take advantage of and get to a showdown in the conference final with a chance to go to play for the Stanley Cup.
No question about it. Yeah. Like somebody asked me who's the most dangerous team for the Hurricanes in the playoffs, and I just went New Jersey because I think it's going to be a long series. EJ Hradek at EJ Hradek _NHL. NHL tonight, first shift. I appreciate your time. I will be bothering you often, sir.
Well, feel free because you're a big Springsteen fan like me, so anytime.
All right, man, I'll talk to you later. Take care, EJ.
All right, take care.
You got it. EJ Hradek from the NHL Network is joining us here. The Devils have a very similar issue to Carolina. By the way, and I say this knowing that Dougie Hamilton is a huge part of the Devils' offense and obviously a good part of their power play. I don't see Dougie Hamilton as a difference maker in this series with Carolina. In fact, I see Dougie Hamilton more as a liability for the Devils than a positive for the Devils against Carolina. Now, I think the Devils do have players that can mitigate Dougie's negatives in the playoffs. One of them we are very familiar with. Brett Pesce will, I think, eat up a lot of minutes in the playoffs. Pesce is one of those guys when it comes to playoff hockey. And he's there and not here. Man, we miss Pesce and Shea so much. So much. All right, we'll break. We'll come back. We'll go through a rewind. We'll talk about the Panthers, maybe even some silly stuff about the Tar Heels next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the NBA play-in tournament is almost upon us, and FanDuel is giving all new customers a chance at $250 in bonus bets. Join today, place your first $5 wager. If that wins, $250 of their money belongs to you. Three-pointers, steals, assists, whatever. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS for the NBA Play-In Tournament. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
70 years ago, PBS North Carolina began its journey, and you, North Carolina, have been with us every step of the way. From the adventures of Mr. Rogers to the mysteries of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, you've inspired us to keep going. Thanks to you, we've been able to expand beyond TV, touching lives in classrooms and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Every day, people battling addiction suffer in silence. Because of stigma, they fear judgment. They fear being labeled, and too often, they don't get the help they need. But you can help change that. Join the Governor's Institute and be a superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Learn how to break the stigma, support those in need, and save lives. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero to get involved. Be a hero, fight stigma, save a life.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's a great classic rock day for you today.
Man, I'm telling you, Joe Walsh, it's a good one.
It's a great classic rock day for
him.
Victoria today.
Yes.
My gosh, this is some track.
Yeah, it is.
Gosh.
He's so great.
I have, this, by the way, it's the Adam Gold Show. I have the Eagles have a live album out called Eagles Live. And this, Joe Walsh played with them, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And they did this song. It's just so good.
I know.
It is so good.
It's hard to listen to this and not just feel good.
Yeah. He's
so silly.
Joe Walsh is so nuts.
Yeah.
So nuts. All right, before we get in, actually, we're going to get into the rewind here in a second. We do, I believe there is a new entity that the NCAA is coming up with. Remember, as part of this settlement, House versus the NCAA, which we have talked about a lot on this show, and my feelings about this are very well known. All of this is great. The fact that the NCAA and the power leagues have repeatedly reached out to Congress to try to bail them out without really offering anything is laughable to me and will ultimately backfire on them, just like everything else has. Here's another thing that will backfire on the NCAA. Because part of the new arrangement, the settlement, will be that the NCAA will establish an entity that will rule on every third-party NIL deal. All of them. What? What do we have? Like 1,000 schools under the NCAA umbrella? So we're going to have one entity rule on the validity of every NIL deal?
Seems ridiculous.
What are we doing?
And impossible.
It's called the College Sports Commission. It was an LLC was filed in Delaware for it. So and this is not me saying this, I know how dumb in a broad way, I know how dumb this entity is, because the NCAA trying to enforce this was idiotic in and of itself, because they haven't been able to enforce their own rules. A, they can't catch everybody. B, when they do catch people, they don't have subpoena power. C, they have been beaten in court at every juncture. The University of North Carolina, when we all knew, and don't at me on this because I'll blow you up, we all knew that the classes were fraudulent. We all knew it. They admitted it. And then at the end, they went, you know what? They were just easy. They weren't fraudulent. They were just easy. And the NCAA had nothing, couldn't do anything about it. They are William Macy. It's like William Macy sits down next to them in court. William Macy was the Cooler. Great movie where he's hired by a Vegas casino. He works for a Vegas casino, and if somebody is doing well, he just sits down and you automatically have bad luck. William Macy must be the NCAA's lead attorney. They'll lose in court. This College Sports Commission, I'm reading this from an attorney who has been commenting on this, Mitt Winter. There you go. That's going to be the next, target for every lawsuit that comes down. Well, we don't think this settlement is really market value, so we're throwing it out. Yeah? See you in court. Over and over and over again. The NCAA is just bad at this, people. It's just really bad at it. Time to rewind. Let's talk football. Darin Gantt, Panthers.com. We ask the old guy. So I had heard from Dan Morgan today in the press conference that they had not given Ike Ekwonu a fifth-year option. They were taking more of a wait-and-see on it. And I read into that maybe they're not entirely enamored with Ike Ekwonu. And I asked Darin Gantt what the status was.
Oh, I think so. And it goes back to a couple of things. I mean, the other thing, you got to go back to the combine when Dan was asked about Icky, and he's like, yeah, we want to extend it. They want to keep Icky around here. And I asked Canales specifically about that at the owners meeting a couple of weeks ago. And he was like, we think we got our left tackle. We think, Icky is that guy for the next little bit. I mean, the thing about Icky is he's still, 25 years old. He came here very young, and it's still that's part of the reason I think this project appeals to Dave Canales and Dan Morgan so much is so many of the key people are still 25 and under. And
right.
I think him being one of those guys, I mean, and maybe he's 26. I don't remember when his birthday is. I'm negligent about sending cards for stuff like that. But but the fact is, still very young in this game and still getting better at it. So I think they're comfortable with Ickey going on. And, I tend to look at this draft as, not getting too hung up on immediate needs and what they've got to have for 2025. Because this thing is all about who's going to be on this team when it's good and contending for the playoffs. And that may not even be this year. That may be next year. And it's not that they're, trying to not win. I mean, obviously they want to be competitive, but I think there's a vision of this thing. If you look at the way they've shopped through the offseason, who they've drafted last year and this year, they're thinking 2 years, 3 years down the line with this deal.
Well, it remains to be seen what happens here. I certainly don't have to be right. I've never been. I was a huge Ike Ekwonu fan when he was at State. I am a huge Ike Ekwonu, the person, fan. I have not seen franchise left tackle out of him. But again, I ain't the expert. So we'll see how this whole thing plays out. Dan Morgan also mentioned trading back. They have the 8th pick. What is the possibility of that happening, especially now that we know the Saints are almost certainly going to be in the market for a quarterback after Derek Carr's injury?
Right. Here's one thing I promise you I will not do. I will never pretend to assume that I know what the Saints are about to do. That's like being John Malkovich. I'm not sure I want to walk around inside that head for too long because they do things sometimes it's like, oh, well, that was a choice. But, I think there's an assumption. There's some natural dot connecting going on. Oh, you don't have a quarterback? You might be interested in acquiring one. I mean, honestly, if the Saints went out and drafted somebody else or Jackson Dart or – whatever it happens to be, that wouldn't surprise me either because nothing the Saints do surprises me. They have been unconventional at times in the past, and that includes the decision to sign Derek Carr to a bunch of money a couple of years ago. So the Carolina Panthers were in that market too. I mean, Frank Reich was thinking seriously about rather than committing resources to the number 1 pick, just signing Derek Carr as a free agent and rolling with that. So that would have been an extension of the Teddy Sam Baker project where you take the veteran of the year and just see what you can do with that. They wanted to go in a different direction. They did, and I think it'd be hard to argue that they're not better off for it right now.
This is an interesting conversation because I think it did work out in their favor. Bryce, I was Team Bryce from the beginning. What I wasn't Team Bryce regarding was that they traded from 9 to 1 to get him. Because none of the quarterbacks in that draft were can't miss. Now, certainly after a dreadful year and a game, or 2 games, whatever it was, it does seem that Bryce is going to be their guy going forward. But let's also admit this. And again, I was Team Bryce over CJ Stroud. Bryce was the 70% choice over Stroud. And what I said at the time was, if it wasn't about Bryce Young, if people didn't think that Bryce Young was clearly better than CJ Stroud, it would have been, well, they're about the same, so we'll take the bigger guy. But it was clear that they thought that Bryce was far advanced from Stroud as a quarterback. Therefore, they would take the risk, and I promise you, more teams than not, if given the option, would have taken Young over Stroud. It doesn't matter about the measurables. They looked at the quarterback and the production and the system he was in and how he operated it and all his ability to freelance. And because of the way the game is working now, where you have to do so many things on the move and improvise, they thought that Bryce was better at that than Stroud. Stroud's going to be fine. He didn't have a good second year. His first year was better than his second year, and it was the opposite of Bryce. And I don't know where they are in terms of best, if you ranked all the quarterbacks out in the league. But here's what I think about both. I don't think either of them are in the top 10. I'm not sure either of them are in the top 15. I think they probably are. But we're not talking about can't miss guys. And that's the thing. As much as I like Bryce, would Carolina have been better served a few years ago, rather than trade from 9 to 1, simply make your pick at 9? Maybe there was a quarterback there at 9. I don't even remember the draft. Make your pick at 9. Or, draft the whatever. Maybe you draft a quarterback. Maybe you keep a veteran around. Maybe you bring in a veteran just to play. Maybe Sam Darnold, or not, was it Sam Darnold at the time? Well, I don't think it was Sam Darnold. No, it was, right? Wasn't it? No. I don't even remember.
Feels like a lifetime ago.
Andy Dalton. Maybe it was Andy Dalton. Yeah, it was Andy Dalton. Maybe you let Dalton play for a year, 2 years, and just build your team, which was putrid. I don't know that that's still, in retrospect, wouldn't have been the best way to go. But we're here. The money was already spent. It was all, whatever. Decisions have already been made. And it does look like Bryce Young can be their quarterback for the foreseeable future. I want to see the next step from him, but the next step from him is also the next step from an offense and a head coach. The defense needs to get better. So, I think the Panthers are right now in a good spot. I don't think the division is going to beat them over the head. I think you might be able to win it with 9 wins. Definitely win it with 10 wins, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
And I think this year, they could get to 9, maybe even 10. And wouldn't that be fun? If Columbus beats Philadelphia tonight in the NHL, Carolina's game with Montreal carries a lot of importance. It does, because it could keep Columbus viable. Montreal needs 1 point to make the playoffs. The Hurricanes are their last game. Victoria, thank you very much. Life's been good.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from our friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, the NBA play-in